Hello, welcome. It's yet another episode of A Star to Steer Her By, your favorite Star Trek watching Fardcast. Sure.
Fartcast?
Wondering if I should take my teeth out. Haven't decided yet. I have aligners now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought you were just, goofing on, I don't know, Donald Trump for, being lispy and shitty when he, had his dentures sliding around his mouth.
Well,
that sounded like Yiddish, that.
This episode brought to you by Invisalign.
it's not Invisalign, it's Motto.
Motto. I didn't realize they had competition now.
That's the Aspen Dental store brand.
Ah.
Yes, they've been yelling at me for years to do this, and I finally said, okay, I have time.
Which, to me, the incentive there for them to push, your teeth need this, when they own the company that makes them.
It's a conflict of interest.
I remember years ago my dentist being like, we could probably fix it up with braces. And I was like, yeah, but is it medically necessary or sheerly aesthetic? And then I don't fucking want it.
Yeah, mine is to prevent further damage in future. So.
Yeah. Well, that's why my sister got braces. Because hers, it was like, if you don't deal with this now, you will need mouth surgery later. So it's like, all right, then yes, get braces. But for me, it was purely aesthetic. So I was like, fuck off.
Yeah, they're always trying to get me to close my gap, but there's no reason to do that.
Mind the gap.
Yeah, I mean, it means you can breathe if you're...
What?
If your teeth are clenched. You can still breathe nicely because you have little airport.
Unlike everybody else who
you can
has
do
airtight seal.
But yours is easier.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. What mine's really good for, and Chris has learned this the hard way, is that if I'm in the shower and you're brushing your teeth, I can take some water in my mouth and fountain that shit in a beautiful arc over the top of the shower curtain and wet you so that you go, ah! How many times?
Pretty good.
I did it a few times.
Far too many.
Yeah.
Without even looking anyway.
Yeah, I couldn't see you. I just know.
Wait till you find out that men can pee in the same way.
Oh. Jake won't let me brush my teeth while he's in the shower.
I thought you were going to say, Jake won't pee on me when I'm showering.
Bastard.
You can brush your teeth when I'm in the shower.
We'll see how much of this I cut.
You never let me. You
Don't-
always
None of it. What are you talking about? This is gold. this is the golden shower is what this is.
No.
Yeah.
Aim's quick. They're already getting out of control.
All right. Well, we're actually doing Star Trek, and we'll see if I can actually form words or if I have to take these things out. This episode is episode number 367.
372.
Sure.
What number?
Woo!
I thought it was, is it
372.
72 or 73?
372.
372.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I double checked. Woo!
Whoa. And
Woo.
apparently I can't remember numbers for more than 5 minutes.
Neither can I.
But after all this banter, this is Ames.
This is Caitlin.
This is Jake.
This is Chris, and for our tardigrade listeners at home,
We have a little stuffed ripper here hanging out, doing some
Hold on.
work.
we can share this to
I think I've shared Ripper on the Facebook before.
Never a bad time to share Ripper.
With Murph.
So yeah, he's hanging with Murph.
The water bear. These microanimals are found worldwide. They're known for their ability to survive extreme conditions such as air deprivation,
Such as Stamets' fucking lab.
dehydration, and starvation.
But that means that the episode we are covering today is Discovery's The Butcher's Knife Cares Not for the Lamb's Cry.
This fucking title.
Bah! It's the second longest in all of Trek.
What's
For the
longer?
world is hollow and I have touched the sky.
That is
the
longer.
longest one.
It certainly is. So let's dive in. I have a synopsis written up so I can plow through because when I reread the Memory Alpha page, I was like, oh, right, that's the order everything happened in. Mm-hmm. Jesus. So first, we have Michael receives the last will and testament of Captain Georgiou and is so not ready to listen to it.
Nope.
Heckin' yikes. She is, however, ready for orders from Lorca, who tasks her with weaponizing Ripper the tardigrade that he stole from the Glen last week. That bastard. Because it's way better than the Federation at killing Klingons. A lot, and they need this right now. And boy, do we ever need it right now because Lorca gets a call from Admiral Cornwell that they have to juice up their spore drive and go save Corvan 2 from Klingon attacks. Corvan 2 has so much dilithium that we need so badly all the time. And Stamets is there, whining and whining about how the spore drive isn't ready, even though Lorca said it was. And he threatens to pull a Scotty and quit, but he doesn't have the spine to do it. Bastard. So instead, he nearly jumps everyone into a sun. Good job, Paul. Meanwhile, over in Lorca's horror lab, Landry, oh god, Landry, the dumbest bitch in space. She gets all impatient and just terrible at her job, and she wants to shoot the hell out of Ripper for reasons. But that gets her immediately fucking killed, and no one will miss her. Fuck you, Landry.
Literally, I was like, good, you dumb cunt!
What an idiot.
I was so mad.
What a bad character, but we'll get back to her.
And she's just such a, like, it's like, transparently needlessly evil. Like, she's not even a real character, because she's just, like, douchebag personified.
However, who isn't douchebag personified yet is Burnham, being the main character and all. She figures out that Ripper really likes spores. And wouldn't he just look so cute in this little harness that we salvaged from the Glen that connects to the spore drive?
No.
And Stamets is all like, ooh, yes, please. So they do. And we go save Corvan 2 by experimenting on an innocent creature.
Ames, that was a hate crime. Jesus.
Never thought I'd hear you say ooh.
I liked it, but go on, sorry.
And Ripper's writing like no-kill eye all over the fucking walls.
Yeah, torturing the animal.
Poor Ripper.
Time-honored Starfleet tradition.
And somehow,
I was so sad.
Somehow Burnham uses this as inspiration to go open Giorgio's posthumous package and totally get lambasted by a ghost for a few minutes just to get a dinky telescope. Burr.
Which
Look
is
at a rust
fucking
tattoo.
useless in space, but whatever.
Yeah, but it
I'm
was
sorry.
hundreds of years old.
Do you not remember the pilot?
Okay,
They
that's
did
true.
use
They
it.
did use it one time because of this very specific circumstance.
Which proves they should maybe keep just traditional optical equipment around sometimes.
Sometimes. So anyway, there's also a Klingon plot
Oh, yeah.
that I kept for the end, so that because it really doesn't really fucking matter what order things go in. In the laboriously slow Klingon plot, Voq and L'Rell are put. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
In
speaking,
Klingon.
I'm speaking way too fast for this. They're put.
No, actually, though, your teeth will help you with the Klingon, actually.
Yes. Let's put more teeth in my mouth. They're putting the sarcophagus back together while all the other houses are off doing a war. And Cole comes over and he says, I really want, info on your cloak, because, cloak would really help us with the war thing. And Voq and L'Rell go over to the drifting Shenzo to gut it for parts. And they definitely fall in Klingon love. But oh no! When they get back, Cole is taken the fuck over because Voq's crew is starving and Voq won't feed them. But Cole can! And L'Rell, oh no, she joins Cole! And she hands over this dilithium processor and they strand Voq on the Shenzo as punishment. But L'Rell is just pretending because she still loves Voq and she makes all these heart eyes at him and they definitely plow the end.
Oh, definitely.
Big time. Big time.
When they're flirting, I guess, over the dilithium processor, and she's like, shall we uncouple? And he makes a face like, wait, this doesn't quite work.
He definitely does a visible double take, and it's great.
He's like, wait, wouldn't it be cut? Oh, you mean, right, we were here to do a thing.
But I'm already inside here.
Yeah, couple things out of the gate here.
Out of the gate!
Fucking Landry, you're right. She's a fucking
oh my
moron.
God. Well, she's also just such a one-dimensional character that I don't care.
It's not a well-written character.
Wait,
like,
who?
Landry.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because here's the thing. Showing her as, like, this ruthless, kind of no-nonsense bitch is fine. Like, that's a character I can get on board with.
Oh, and she's a slut. Don't forget, anytime, anywhere, captain, or whatever she said.
Right.
Being fair, that is implicit, but never actually...
There's
or
a
at least
cutscene.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
There's a cutscene
where
in which
they're
they plow.
raw dogging it, and she's just, like, insulting him the whole time?
Yeah, well, like I said last time, I mean, she's definitely a stomp on the balls type.
Yeah.
In a
Stomp.
good way.
She's
in
gonna
a good way.
fucking haul back and kick. There's no
Yeah.
stomping.
Yeah,
She's
now,
just-
Lorca is a
No,
good
there's
way to
stomping,
do,
too.
like, this evil character because it's clear that it's because the Klingon War has brought out all the worst shit in him. And, like, it's because he has to.
Landry was the type who would rip the wings off a dragonfly and toss it on an anthill. Like, she's just a fucking sociopath.
Yeah. I can get on board with that, with just an evil character.
But why Starfleet?
Well, even with Starfleet, and hear me out here.
Yeah.
Fucking Captain Ransom, which, again, this whole fucking Ripper plot is totally lifted from.
True.
Ransom was pushed to extremes too, though.
Oh, yeah, no, he was pushed
Oh,
to
he was saying Burke. Burke was an asshole.
Yeah, Max was the shithead, I guess.
Max was evil.
Yeah, so, like, really, it's the Ransom is your Lorca, and
that's true.
And Max is your
Landry.
and
they leech energy off of innocent creatures.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally ripped off, which is fine, whatever.
Star Trek rips itself off constantly.
Yeah, and we love
And
her.
other people.
Although I think I'll get to that later. But back on Landry, the problem I have with Landry is how fucking utterly stupid they decided to make her in this episode.
Dumb. She doesn't even think, like, Burnham thinks, turn the lights on.
She was on the Glen with them. Mm-hmm. She knows what that creature is capable of. She saw it.
She even said, I saw what it could do to fully armed Klingons, so I'm just going to shoot at it.
Well, see, but this time she had a bigger gun. Surely that will do it.
This time the ship supposedly sedated it when it did
not.
Yeah, well, you check first, okay?
Yeah.
You don't open the force field the way at first. You like open it a little bit, poke it with a stick, and like, okay, yeah, it's asleep.
Yeah, or you like, you open it a little bit and you, I don't know, throw Stamets in there.
Yeah.
What I appreciate, and again, like, as Ames correctly pointed out, we don't know what the writer's intention was, but for me as a viewer, I appreciate this being to me at least, the anti-Enterprise, where it's like, we are shown very blatantly, this is bad.
Yeah, like, I do like the argument between Lorca and Stamets over, science good, but using science for bad makes me uncomfortable, but you gotta do it because we're in war.
Yeah,
but also, not just that though, like, Ripper is clearly unhappy and in pain. Mm-hmm. And I think what's really kind of interesting is the multiple perspectives we get. Lorca doesn't care because he just wants to win the war. Mm-hmm. Even Stamets, who wants to pretend he's better than Lorca, doesn't care because, oh shit, my toy works now. Here comes my Elon Musk prize.
Lorca wanted the Elon Musk prize.
And they name dropped Elon Musk, and what a fucking bad
that has not
thing
aged
in
well.
fucking
I have a note.
Yuck.
Supposedly, Jason Isaacs claimed on one of the After Trek episodes that he added Musk in himself in the hope
Who did?
Jason Isaacs.
Oh, fuck you, Jason.
Who plays Lorca, in the hopes that he would get a Tesla. I don't know if he did or not.
I mean, that seems like a joke to me because
I haven't seen this episode of After Trek, so I don't know how jokey it is.
Well, he's also an actor. He could certainly afford him to buy himself.
Yeah, but if you're gifted one.
But also, this was still when a lot of people thought this guy.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing. Like in retrospect, Musk is a maniac, but at the time he was, a lot of people were like, oh, he's a visionary,
a dangerous.
Yeah, like
maniac.
I think unless you were terminally online at this point, because I think this was after the whole spat he had with that diver.
Yeah, I think it is.
And that's when because personally up to that point I barely paid attention to him and was like, sure, whatever you people say, I guess he's getting us to space. But that's when
Yeah, and Teslas seem cool.
Yeah, and it's so that's when I started to pay attention to him, and I was like, wait a minute, what's with this dude?
Yeah, there was a whole episode of The Simpsons, of one of the more of that recent, in what would this have been? This was 2017, so somewhere in this general time frame, where he was Homer's new best friend.
Yeah. And
he was supposed to be the coolest guy.
Yeah, this is when a lot of people still believed that. So it made sense at the time, but boy, did it, as far as stuff aging poorly quickly, god damn.
But anywho.
But yeah, sorry, so I got off course. So yeah, Stamets doesn't care because his toy works.
Right.
Lorca doesn't care because his weapon works.
Well, his weapon doesn't work.
Well,
his transport works.
Yes, his trick works, I should say. And they even, you cut to the people on the planet with the light and the swelling music. Who saved us? And of course, they don't know at what expense they have been saved.
They don't know yet that Michael Burnham saves the universe.
So, you can get why for a lot of people it's yeah, but then, we do show, again, poor Ripper suffering, and Michael, who just keeps fucking up even when she doesn't mean to, clearly feels very bad. So it's nice to see, the show acknowledging, this is actually bad, even though a lot of people aren't recognizing it yet.
Yeah, and then Tilly comes in and says, but you saved a lot of people. It is bad, but I love the debate.
Yeah.
That's good Star Trek stuff right there.
Yeah, I mean, one problem I have with it, though, is that both Lorca and Stamets are unlikable dickheads, and I don't want either of them to win.
Right. No, that is true, and I think that's kind of maybe part of the point.
Yeah. Lorca's charming, though. I'm into that. He's got that Ducat swagger, and I'm into it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
That's the thing. I don't blame Landry.
I blame the writers.
I mean, for wanting to fuck him.
I don't think Stamets is that. I mean, he's definitely kind of a bitch, but he's also right. He wasn't. I mean, if you signed up to work on your science and that was the whole thing, and suddenly they're actually, we're gonna split your resources in half. We're going to demand faster results without a proper testing. And we're going to absolutely use your shit for war right now, right away. I would be mad if I was Stamets also.
I don't blame him for being mad. I don't blame him for being bitter about it.
He threatens to take his ball and go home.
And I don't know, maybe it's the actor. I don't know. I just don't like him.
How dare you not like
I'm just
it?
like,
See, I've not seen him in anything else, so I wouldn't know.
He's Mark in Rent, which is like my favorite character in Rent, and
He was the annoying best friend in Adventures in Babysitting.
Oh, I always forget that he's done other stuff.
I haven't seen that in an exceptionally long time.
I've never seen that.
Actually, have I seen it, or am I confusing with Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter?
He's also a massive horn dog in that, and his whole thing is he's constantly trying to get porno mags.
Is this for children?
Was this an 80s movie?
It's an 80s movie.
Yeah,
So yes, it was.
He's also smoking cigarettes and something else.
It's for children back when for children meant you could still drop F-bombs and show
the 80s were
titties.
a weird fucking time for it was like, I've said this before, possibly even on here, I don't think so, but the 80s is a really bizarre time where suddenly you could get away with saying stuff that you had to always imply.
Oh yeah, there were so many ways around the censor, and the censor just let it go.
Yeah, well, and by the 80s, you could just have this hornball, the 80s was you could say whatever you wanted, and sort of gentler sensibilities hadn't come in yet to be like, maybe we shouldn't say all of this? It was a weird transitional period, so the 80s, again, the shit they would put into ostensibly family films, you're just like, I'm fucking sorry, what? I mean, again, for me, I feel like Stamets grows on me, but I feel like even at this point, when originally watching, I get why he's mad, but the problem is he takes it out on everybody. And that's why you're kind of like, dude, fucking, it's not anyone's fault except the admirals and Lorca.
Burnham is for starting the war.
Fair.
Oh, and how manipulative of Lorca, because once he's had that conversation with Stamets, he just starts playing throughout the ship.
What a dick move.
The crying death knells of all the people dying on Korriban 2.
And never mind the fact that, you've got people on your crew who've possibly been through, you definitely have people, because you've got half the fucking Shenzhou crew here. You might be setting off some PTSD, asshole. Calm the fuck down. He's such a prick.
I'm actually almost surprised that Michael didn't have some PTSD, because the Klingons killed her fucking parents in front of her, no?
I mean, her whole thing is not knowing how to deal with her emotions.
Well, no, I know, but since your thesis or whatever is that this whole series is about her dealing with trauma,
True.
I would have expected that to be a moment for her trauma to shine.
That's a good point.
Anyway,
that would take better writers.
That's the thing. If that's what it is, every episode would be about that, and it would get real exhausting.
Well, yeah. Again, the point of playing the sounds of death was to influence Stamets. It was not to influence Burnham. And the writers are like, okay, we have to only do the one thing. We can't have anything else happen.
I think it's also what makes Landry, because I think this happens before Landry dies.
No, it was after.
Is it after? The timeline of this episode
died
is lost.
Pretty early in the...
She died way later than I thought she did, though. She died after jumping into the sun.
That's true, yeah.
I actually thought I forgot that she died when she got ripped. I thought they were going to heal her, and I was like, oh, too bad, they're probably going to fix her. And then I'm like, oh no, she did.
She got dead.
That's honestly really part of the reason he did it. He's mad that his fuck buddy's dead.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Oh, we meet a new character. I don't know if he got a name, but the doctor of the ship.
Oh, he did not yet, I think.
He heals up Stamets' nose, which got really fucked up.
Oh my god!
I forgot about how...
Wham! I was like, oh! He's lucky he didn't die from that shit.
That's what the doctor said.
Well, he's right.
He nearly got at the very least, nearly got a lobotomy from a piece of his own skull.
Oh, Jesus.
His nose is an innie
And
now.
also, his reaction was just, or something. Didn't he, barely react? Yeah. I feel like if I had just, basically penetrated my skull with my own nose, I would definitely have a lot more to say about it.
Flop on the ground and just kind of fish out of water flopping and screaming.
I mean, he was concussed, so he probably didn't even notice what was happening.
True.
He's just like, where the fuck am I?
Yeah, and they cut away pretty quick.
And then he goes to the brig.
Yeah.
While Burnham's in there and gets blown out.
Yeah.
But yeah, they cut away pretty quick. He very well could have then collapsed on the ground and wept as any normal person would have done in that case.
Yeah, what about I know it didn't actually say anything terribly judgmental, but I found the suitcase to be very judgmental Like, I don't know.
The
like,
suitcase itself?
The suitcase itself is like, do you accept the last will and testament of Philippa Giorgio, who you murdered?
I think part of it is like they're clearly trying to go for that more TOS style semi-robotic computer voice, which I think they eventually give up on
But
that.
I also think that the problem I have with the computer voice is not the voice being robotic, it's that it still talks like a person. Like it feels very much like a person doing a computer voice instead of a computer.
Yeah, that's the weird mix. It's like back in the TOS days, the computer talked more robotically, but like you said, more like a machine. Whereas this is more of a modern Trek computer that talks a little more naturally, but it's got the robot voice and it.
We need Majel, is what you're saying.
It's I don't know. It's just jarring to me. Like,
it's a weird mix.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about all of the computer's lines that irritate me.
Black alert.
Except that's great.
Yeah, that's fine.
It gets better though. I feel like it doesn't start as good as it gets.
It's more like, like when she's in the lab and the computer's explaining water bears or something. I can't remember what it was doing, but it's just like
likely to eat various spores and shit.
I find it funny because when they last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever, when they first did a jump and everything got kind of damp, I was like, oh, I forgot about this. How quickly did they must drop that at some point, but I didn't want to mention it because I wasn't sure how long it would be. It's like, oh, by literally the next time they do a jump.
We don't see the damp anymore?
No, because I think they realized, kind of like how with Back to the Future, they were like, yeah, so we originally were going to have it whenever it went through the time thing, it would come through all frosted. We were like, that was a pain in the ass, so we only did it the once. We, implied that we'd had gases coming off like it was evaporating. It's the same thing, I think. It's like, that was expensive. Let's just never do that again.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole mystery box about the spore drive has been completely kind of dropped, huh? It's like we
know what it is
we
now.
opened the box. Yeah, I know, exactly. So it's like the whole mystery box element, which I really liked in the last episode, is gone. They're like, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, it's like, again, having seen so many mystery boxes that take forever to open, and then once they do, you're like, Like, I guess it's like, all right, here's the box, we've opened it, here's the result. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Which they have too many more episodes full of things progressing to get through that they can't wait.
I guess.
Yeah, I can definitely see though. Like, yeah, it definitely was like, oh, that was, similarly, without getting to what it is, there's a thing in Strange New Worlds where we're like, oh, we've already wrapped this. Oh, that was fast. So yeah, it's something they do for some reason.
It's just, I mean, it's fine. It's just, I feel like it's a bit of a tease, a little bit of blue balls on the whole, like, oh, are we gonna have a season-long mystery?
It's almost the opposite, actually.
Yeah.
It's whatever the opposite of blue balls is.
Yeah, it's just, it came all over me.
Jizzing everywhere, yeah.
It was a very well-executed hand job.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Wish I could call this episode
Sounds too fast, though. So apparently, more like a wet dream.
There we go.
Yikes.
So, okay, on the topic of torturing an animal to make your ship go. So obviously there's the parallel to the Equinox from Voyager.
Yep,
which I think is, that's clearly what I think they were cribbing from. But I want to shout out a show which I thought did the same concept in a better way, more interesting way. It's Farscape.
Oh, I was going to say Devil in the Dark.
Oh, well, no, that doesn't make the ship go.
No, but it's
just, I mean, yeah.
They didn't know the animal was defending itself.
Yeah, but they weren't exploiting the animal. The animal was, they thought the animal was a pest.
They then hire the animal at the end.
Yeah, so are you talking about the Moya in Farscape?
I'm talking about the Moya, the Leviathans.
Yeah.
So, like, for those of you who haven't seen Farscape,
watch Farscape.
There's an evil galactic empire type thing, and one of the things that they do is they have these ships that are literal living ships. They're creatures that are born and grow, but they have a special power that they can jump. They have jump drive. They have spore drives.
Oh, okay.
But, left to their own devices, they're wild animals.
Sure.
So the evil empire has to, like, put these control collars on them.
The clamps.
And then, like, to add even more torturing of creatures, they in order to make them go where you want them to go, they need a pilot, a ripper.
Oh, is he that funny little puppet that kind of looks like a frog?
No, he's the giant puppet that looks like a squid.
Looks like a giant frog.
Another one.
Yeah, the little puppet's a different character. But yeah, so they have these pilots. And then the pilots are also, they're bonded with the Leviathan, so they're permanently, like, if
they can feel its pain.
One dies, the other dies, and shit like that.
So it's like,
You
it's
really
just
gotta watch this show.
and it's the same. I mean, it's basically the same thing because we want to get spore drive capability, so
Yeah.
we have to torture our ship, which is the engine, and then we also have to torture the pilot, which is the pilot.
There's also a 5th season of the new run Doctor Who that deals with sort of like living things used for space travel.
So yeah, I do recommend checking out Farscape if you want to see
I don't know how
a
it
similar
happened yet.
similar thing.
I
Yeah,
feel
it
like
is-
we're waiting to cover it for the show one of these years.
that would be fun because
I'd do that.
it's kind of Star Trekky and it's got
Well,
it's got a lot of Jim Henson
That's right,
puppets,
Oh yeah, really good.
which are
Muppets.
really well done.
Henson shit's always just class.
Yeah.
It's got Claudia Black, who's my fave.
Yeah. Ben Browder, who's fine.
I like him.
No, he's good.
He's Crichton.
Yeah, it's great because in the final couple seasons of Stargate SG-1, he takes over basically not the character but he fills the same role in the cast that MacGyver did.
Richard Dean Anderson.
Yeah, so he comes in, and then they also get Claudia Black to join the cast.
So it's just a Farscape reunion, and I love it.
And they play it for there's a couple moments where in the show where it's like, oh, we're gonna do a Farscape parody, and
Nice.
it's fabulous.
Gotta get those two on Star Trek. Why not?
Yeah,
I would love that.
I'm shocked Claudia Black hasn't appeared in any Star Trek because she basically has appeared in almost every other
Genre
sci-fi
thing.
Yeah,
series.
she was in Ahsoka.
Yeah,
Was she?
She's in Star Wars.
She's under a ton of makeup, but she's definitely her.
Yeah.
Looking fine.
But Star Trek. What else?
Oh, I had a note that I was almost surprised because Landry's names Ripper because she's like, oh, it's evil, it's a danger, and
Because he
blah, blah, blah.
rips.
Irony.
But I was almost a little bit surprised that Burnham kept referring to Ripper as it instead of like giving it like pronouns.
Well, maybe
like
it doesn't have
like a
gender
pet.
as we know it.
Well, then you at least call it they. This show knows about they.
Well, not yet. They
Yeah,
don't.
I don't know if they
Not
do
for a
yet.
couple more seasons.
Yeah, I feel like that doesn't come up until that fucking, oh my god, that scene. There's a scene when we get to it, I'm gonna be so angry.
But
This
yeah, I
this show goes so far in the right direction that it makes me sound like one of those people that's like, why is Star Trek so woke? I'm like, why? Why has the ship got a gender? Why is it
Well,
talking all the time?
ships are always called she
Yeah.
in English. Yeah. I mean, you could read it in world as her just trying to depersonalize the whole situation because she's uncomfortable with it from the off.
Yeah, but I feel like it would have been really nice contrast with Landry, who we already hate, because the first impression we get of this bitch is her calling prisoners garbage
Yeah.
and trash and animals.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you. Like, it would have been nice when you went to the character, but it's interesting. We do see Michael kind of go back and forth between like, contrite sort of post-conviction, very conflicted and confused Michael to when she is in the lab, she kind of snaps into. I mean, she does that whole thing with Saru.
Oh God, with the threat gang, yeah,
And
that
like,
was good. Saru was on fire
He
this
was.
episode.
He was.
He was big mad.
But also, like, I noticed that in that scene, her tone went sort of semi-monotone again. Like,
The Sonico Martin Green voice.
yeah.
She's
She
doing the Vulcan
does that.
thing.
She's doing a lot more Vulcaning in this episode, I noticed.
Well, I think it's because she's sciencing again.
Oh, is that what it is?
And she's kind of like,
And repressing.
she's also kind of losing sight of things because, ooh, I'm in a lab. I get to be me and semi-Vulcan again. And I think it was, if it wasn't intentional, it sure worked out nicely. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and there's also the I can't deal with the Giorgio box right now.
Yeah.
Repress.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I noticed that during that scene, she went way more, like, robotic than she had in a while.
When she gets into her whisper voice, which she's going to overuse in coming episodes, and Jesus God, she
Whispering
does that
and
a lot.
crying, girl. She's so good at both of those. But go on, I'm sorry.
But no, I
totally
did love.
interrupted
Yeah,
you.
I loved all the Michael Saru scenes because Saru does nothing but dig, and I love it so much. I think I wrote down a good quote.
You were supposed to be on that ship, and had Lorca asked me, I would have told him we didn't have room on the crew for a mutineer. Or whatever.
I love that fucking Lorca didn't tell him. Like, what the shit?
I don't think Lorca and Saru talk.
I have a theory that it really makes no sense that Saru is the first officer because Saru clearly despises Lorca, and I just can't see Lorca as wanting to have
Kelpian?
a character of Saru's disposition
And morals.
and
Here's
morals.
the thing: he might not have had a choice.
Well-
I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what Lorca wants.
Well, it does. I mean, a lot of time, like captains, we've seen before in Star Trek, captains get to choose their command crew. My theory here is that Cornwell knows that Lorca is a fucking sadist, loose cannon scumbag, and is like, okay, I need to like put some people in here that'll keep him in check.
We gotta put some guardrails on him.
Yeah, it's like Trump v1 in 2016. You know, like there were people that are like, okay, we'll put some.
There are adults in the room.
Yeah, we'll put some competent people in this administration, but now
they'll get fired immediately.
It's off the rails, and we're gonna get what we get.
This line of conversation and talking about the threat ganglia and stuff, without going into spoilers, is revealing to me a gigantic fucking plot hole. How does Saru not know anything is weird with a certain character?
Saru's threat ganglia are based on like imminent danger.
What more imminent danger?
I mean, it's.
I'm just saying.
There's a fine line between threat ganglia and spider sense.
Yeah, but he sort of seems to have both sometimes.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
it's
Well,
When it's
anyway,
convenient.
it just
of the
occurred to
plot
me, and
device.
I'm like, WTF, man.
You got a point.
How's his gaydar?
It's also possible that maybe, like, when he first met, there was definitely a flare-up, but it's like, once you're around the same threat for long enough, eventually it's just like, Jesus Christ. Look, you're afraid of him. We get it. I'm going back in. It's cold out here.
I thought it was interesting.
Threat testicles.
That at one point they cut to Lorca, who's having dinner, and he's just eating like
Fucking
like
raw
cheese
octopus.
fries or
raw
something?
octopus. And
Oh, is that what that was?
It was something gross.
I mean, that is how people eat octopus.
I know, but
In
no,
this day
you
and
don't
age-
eat octopus raw. You gotta cook it.
some people.
Who the fuck is eating raw octopus?
People do. Several
I'm just-
people die a year because the tentacles, when raw, although technically dead, can still sucker onto you.
Oh,
Good. Well, let me
God.
just say this. If you die eating octopus, good. You shouldn't eat octopus. They're too fucking intelligent. It's like eating a dolphin. They're too smart. Just don't do it. Don't eat octopuses. Everyone out there, stop eating octopus.
And dolphin.
But yeah,
And-
no,
well, yeah,
I think it was
sure.
very intentional to have him eating this, like,
And shark.
very, like, just...
Sharks aren't that smart.
They're so cute, though.
Gross thing.
Yeah. It's
When they like there was a scene in TNG when in I think it was in Genesis when Worf is just starting his transition to being a monster, and he's in 10 forward and he's just chowing down on piles and piles of octopus and shit, and Troy comes in and she's like,
But I'm
I'll just
part
have,
octopus.
I'll just have some water.
But yeah, it also feels like...
She drinks water like Donald Trump?
She does in that scene because
Really?
she was transitioning into a
Fish.
mermaid creature.
Oh,
Like,
that's
I
what
can't
you meant
be the
about
other
becoming
kind
a
of
monster.
mermaid.
I was like, what are we talking about right now?
But yeah, it feels like it was very... Like, it's this meal that, like, even though it's a thing now in reality, it feels like by the 23rd century, maybe they wouldn't be cutting the limbs off octopi and dipping them in fucking soy sauce.
Speaking of eating shit, we learned the Klingons ate Giorgio.
That's fucked up.
Whoopsie.
Whoopsie.
Now, is it a
Speaking of
common
Klingons
thing?
eating gross shit.
Ugh. Is it a common thing, or is it because they were literally starving?
I assume it's a desperation thing. Like, I don't think they're trying to say the Klingons eat their enemies. That's...
I somehow missed that, both the first time I watched this 20 years ago and right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
they definitely mentioned, after we ate the captain, now we're out of food.
Did they eat Takuvma?
I think
Doubt
they
it.
stuck him in a sarcophagus on the ship.
See, bummer. They have tons of food. They got tons of jerky just covering the ship.
Dude.
The ship is wrapped in jerky.
Freeze-dried.
Freeze
The ultimate freeze-drying.
Actually, it's funny. I wonder how long the depths of space keep meat fresh.
But they also might be full of, like, embalming chemicals, which has made the food...
I bet
Oh,
you,
I
bet
doubt
you
it.
a corpse in space, or meat in space. I wouldn't say corpse, but I bet you meat in space, because the thing that makes meat spoil is
Oxygen.
oxygen and bacteria.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's why there are areas of the ocean that aren't oxygenated, and things will just die there and not rot.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I guess what we're saying is we need some brave soul to go up there, find one of the many cosmonauts that died in orbit, and see if it's edible.
I wonder if something in space would get freezer burn, because freezer burn is caused by sublimation of ice. So I don't know if that would happen in a vacuum.
Well, there's liquid in
Actually,
the body.
no, it would happen in a vacuum because that's exactly how freeze drying works. So yeah, it would probably be freeze dried. Yeah.
But would it be freezer burned?
Well, freeze dry, interestingly enough, is the same process that they use for freeze drying is what causes freezer burn.
I thought freezer burn was just from all the thawing and freezing and thawing and freezing.
No, freezer burn technically happens, I believe. I could be wrong, but freezer burn happens when you have water ice, frozen water that's in food in your freezer.
Okay.
You ever open your freezer and look at your ice cube trays and the ice cubes are mysteriously smaller?
Yes.
That's
absolutely.
Because what happens is that water has the interesting ability to sublimate, meaning it goes directly from a solid form ice to a gaseous form. So, and that's how ice does that. It's losing mass because it's outgassing.
Oh.
And that's what
Is that why our freezer is constantly encased in ice?
Well, that's from condensation that gets in there and then freezes.
Our freezer is a mystery box.
It's because it doesn't have a good seal.
Put a ripper in there.
It's got a spore gun.
The door has a bad seal. But so that's what happens. So that's what causes freezer burn in food as well, is because the water that's frozen in the food evaporates it sublimates, and that's what causes the freezer burn. And then freeze drying is just doing that more.
Like really fast, maybe?
Yeah, really fast freeze, a fast cycle where it can... I think the idea with freeze drying is that all of the water that's frozen turns into gas.
Right. Well, space jerky.
Space jerky.
Yum.
So yeah, so in other words, I would bet you that the corpses on the sarcophagus ship would be quite well preserved and quite edible, if not a bit dry.
So here's my question. How the fuck did they reconnect the ship?
Neck?
Well, they've been there 6 months, so they had time.
Yeah, but what resources? Like, that feels like it would take a
because it
lot
sounds
of
like
work.
this crew, the Takuvma, devout, stayed behind on the one ship that can cloak but is busted as fuck.
Yeah.
While everyone else went off to war. And Cole is none too happy about it.
Yeah.
Because he's like, "Why you guys are bringing us together, but it's not going to last because you guys suck."
He's a dick.
So Cole is House of Core, they say?
Yes.
I think so.
Oh.
So I wonder I'm assuming that's related to our friend Core. Maybe he's Cole's son? I don't know.
Does Core is Core the one who says trans rights?
Eventually, yes.
Jadzia.
Core's our friend.
This guy is not.
I just couldn't remember who was who. Like, I know who Koloth is, and I know there's Core, and then there's another one.
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
Core's like the
Ken.
prototype Klingon.
Ken.
He was the first Klingon in
Who was?
Core.
And
Right,
Aaron
right,
The
right.
first
Mercy.
Klingon in Aaron of Mercy. And he's a good friend. And he's a good friend to Dax, and he's a good friend to Worf. And he's all for trans
But he
rights.
hates Martok.
Oh gosh, is he the one that gets dementia?
He
Yes.
does get dementia, but he
That
goes
is
out. But he
so
goes out in a
upsetting.
blaze of glory.
I
on
know,
his own
I
terms,
know,
which is
I
great.
know.
It
But
is-
it's so sad. Like, that bums me out so much because they're so nasty to him. Like, I know that's how Klingons do, but man, it's heartbreaking.
It's funny to think that Koloth is out there right now somewhere, like timeline-wise.
My dear Captain Kirk.
So here's I don't think there's really any evidence of this in the show or in canon, but we know that Cole of House Core and Vol are rivals here. They don't like each other. In the distant future, Core of House Core is blood sworn enemies with an albino and goes on a mission with Koloth.
Right,
and
that's
Kang
Blood Oath. Holy shit.
to go take out this albino that they don't like.
Holy shit, that's
Coincidence?
This was a very common fan theory
Holy
back
shit.
in the day.
Lower
Jake
decks
made
take
it in our
note.
first
I think I
episode.
Did you?
I think I did.
Okay.
Lower decks take note. Like, really, this is how you fucking do some
But
nerd shit.
I don't think there's any evidence in the canon for it. So
When has that ever stopped fans?
did we talk about this when we talked about Blood Oath? Is that what it was?
No, we talked about this when we talked about the Discovery premiere the first time.
Does that even? Oh, is it just because? But
Vogue was there.
But
Oh, it's
Cole,
because
but
I'm-
Cole wasn't.
I'll Klingon.
I think it's well, no, he was there.
Was
he was
he?
only on screen.
Was
Yeah.
he named Cole?
If he wasn't, then I knew it because he's in timelines.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know yet quite what I think about this part of the Klingon plot. Because it's so expository so far. Like,
It's
this
just
whole
setting stuff
episode...
up.
Yeah, this whole episode for the Klingons is... Alright, Voke's gonna go do a new thing with Laurel, and don't know what we think about her yet, other than that she's really loyal to Voke.
For reasons.
It sounds like she always was able to, like, switch alliances because she's part of two houses that don't necessarily get along, and...
Yeah, but she seems to be thrown in with him for reasons.
That dick. I'm sorry, those dicks.
Oh, God.
Them dicks.
I mean, certainly he seems more pleasant than Cole.
What do Klingons
Yeah,
like?
I don't know.
that?
I'm not... They haven't made Laurel a character yet that I'm at all invested in like her whole... Like, they spent so much time on her, oh, well, I was born to a father of House Shitface and a mother of House Dingleberry, and never the two shall meet.
It does feel vaguely like they're going for like I say this having not really seen the show, but they definitely want her to feel like kind of like a schemy little Game of Thronesy character.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if I'm getting that from
Well,
her.
No,
she's
yeah,
like-
she definitely is, because she's like, I don't want to be in charge, because I want to be in the background doing shit.
And I'm from like one of the houses, like the House of Deception and stuff, and I'm just like, this is interesting but weird.
House of Deception. Yeah. I mean, it is. Yeah, it's probably undeniable that some of the Klingon stuff in this show is probably inspired by Game of Thrones. It's
Yeah.
hugely popular at the time.
I read
and-
some weird note that I don't know how much I trust. That it's like, oh, they expounded on her character because they really liked like the kind of stuff she was doing in the background in the first two episodes, because she was there but not named or given stuff to do yet. But I'm like,
That seems how can that possibly be true though?
Yeah.
You're telling me they spent all that money on all that makeup and shit, and they were just like, well, maybe we'll just use her some more.
and also you would have
What do you want,
written the
drugs?
fucking episodes. You would have written episode 4 before filming episode 1.
I don't
feel like
know. You never know.
Most of this series was probably written before they started filming, right?
You think?
Well, okay, so here's what I would buy. I would buy that originally she was supposed to be a smaller character, but they had written this role for a different character, and they said, okay, we're going to make her that person instead of
Maybe that.
this
yeah.
guy. But I don't imagine that they were like, we got to rewrite the whole thing!
Yeah, no.
Plus, I mean, them titties.
And that's, oh god, what's... I know in real life, Mary Chieffo, her actor, was... like, went to the same school as, I think was even college roommates with, I want to say Mary Wiseman, who's Tilly.
How funny.
Yeah, there's definitely some sort of real-life connection between Laurel and one of the Discovery crew. I'll have to double-check. I think her and Tilly, though, like, have known each other for years.
That's cute. Oh, there was a deleted scene with, you'll remember, Orek, who was the brother of the torchbearer who Burnham
yeah.
stuck and
and
stabbed.
only weighs 8 pounds.
Don't
But it
get
can, but can pick up a bowling ball.
it. I don't get it.
What's
The
this?
old Auric vacuum
the
ads from the
8-pound
90s.
Oh,
It was
Okay,
it was a vacuum cleaner that they advertised on TV.
Forgot all about
And
those.
it was the vacuum cleaner weighed 8 pounds, but it could hold up a bowling ball with its suction.
I remember that ad now. Wow.
Yeah.
The 8-pound Auric vacuum cleaner.
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
he would be around, like, moping about on the sarcophagus, asking Voke to kill him for his dishonor, which I'm not quite sure why he thinks he's dishonored, but he did. And Voke was like, no, Takuvma, I promised to Takuvma to keep all his followers together. But then Laurel would go kill Auric for him and say, no, your promise was to unite the Klingon houses, which isn't the same thing. You can kill this guy. And he's like, oh, Laurel, able to do my dirty work for me. And then they plow.
Oh, Laurel, I have such a boner.
Yeah, the
Such
whole
a-
like
yeah.
Klingon culture in this show is interesting and different. I feel like honor hasn't come up really. a lot.
Honor offer.
Yeah,
man.
like, it's interesting because in my, not research, but in doing some reading in preparation for the Blogtivity we're doing later, it brought up a point that I found interesting in like,
Did you hear him just suck up to Ames? Oh, while I was researching for my Blogtivity like a good little Chris.
Glad I gave you the list of episodes we're covering.
there were so fucking many.
Oh boy, I probably should have done some research, huh? So-
But there's a line I completely forgot about that's very interesting in I've already forgotten which one, there's so many. But anyway, at one point someone says to Worf how, cloaking technology doesn't seem terribly honorable. And he
Sounds like
says,
something one of the Daxes would say.
It is honorable to defeat your enemies or whatever.
no, nothing is more honorable to a Klingon than winning.
Hmm.
So it's like, yeah. But also this point, again, because their culture is fractured as fuck, that may have fallen by the wayside at this point anyway.
Yeah, I would think that the It seems to me like the whole like Klingon honor thing is really a TNG era Klingon practice and not big at this time.
Yeah, because it doesn't come up through any of TOS or even the TOS films. Like,
really, it's only a Worf thing.
Yeah. Well, I feel
the Catholic Klingon.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that clearly at some point between TOS and TNG, there's some sort of like Klingon revival movement, which
Klingon Renaissance,
which like people buy into in varying degrees. With Worf very hard into it, and say Gowron not as much.
Well, Gowron will use it to his political advantage.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's
it's
what I mean.
like having different ways of reading the Bible.
Yeah.
I think this part means this, and everyone's like, I did not read it that way, but you do what you want, Gowron.
Yeah, but I think again, like it's if we look at it as at some point between Enterprise and now, but now I mean Discovery, the Empire kind of fell apart. Now it reunifies. It spends the next 30, 40 years kind of getting its shit back together. So sometime between Star Trek VI and TNG, there's also a resurgence of fervor for this old honor code that had fallen by the wayside.
I'm going to say
it
was a Kempek thing, because he seems like a political opportunist.
Who's Kempek again?
He was the old Klingon Chancellor before Gowron, the one that Duras poisoned.
Right. Yeah, that could be it.
Are we sure Duras poisoned him?
Well, actually, we're not.
We're not. I still blame Gowron.
It could be Gowron. But, I mean, regardless.
We know Duras brought a bomb to the funeral.
What is it? Duras set us up the bomb.
Yeah, Duras.
What'd you say?
Yeah, it could very well have been Gowron that did the poisoning.
I could see that.
But,
fucking guy.
I'm pretty sure it was Tyrell, Game of Thrones,
Thrones.
the old lady.
But-
What's her name?
Olenna?
Pretty sure it was Olenna.
But poisoning does seem like more of a Romulan kind of assassination.
I think you mean a womanly assassination.
I think you mean a Sela type assassination.
Oh my god, it's all Sela all the way down.
So that's why I personally believe it was Duras.
Man, I have to say, I have become lukewarm on Discovery once we get to, season 2 through 4, and I think I liked what I saw for the 5th season. I really like this season of this show.
So far, it ain't bad. There's some annoying stuff, but it's not bad.
Yeah, there's
Stamets.
nitpicky stuff, but yeah, so
Landry.
far, I think the pilots / prologue / whatever you want to call it, I was not jazzed for. But the more we learn about the actual crew, I'm getting interested. I just wish that the character work is mostly Burnham. And a little Saru and a little Lorca.
No, Tilly stopped herself talking that one time. That's development.
That's development. Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm still not a big fan of Tilly.
They do kind of go way too hard on her in the beginning. I like her at some point, because when I first watched this, I was annoyed as fuck by Tilly. I thought Stamets was a bitch. And so I know that I like them both now because I like them later. Which means that when I rewatch Voyager eventually, I probably will like Neelix until the ugly green monster of envy rears its head.
Well, those scenes are never
and then I'll
good.
be annoyed.
No, and those scenes are good because they show his development later.
Well, that's true. But I think that it's fair to always say that's a bad thing, Neelix.
Petey.
Naughty Neelix.
You want to tickle his whiskers, Ames?
I'm not opposed.
Do we know what the fucking title is in reference to?
I assume just the fact they have to torture Ripper to make their stuff work.
Yeah.
But is it like a quote?
It's a means to the end. It's not a quote.
Oh, yeah, no, I
Didn't we talk about this last week?
We did.
Oh, sorry.
Was it on air?
I don't
can't
think
remember.
it was on air.
Yeah, afterwards I looked it up, and I could not find a source anywhere. It's not from Shakespeare or some fucking novel. It's just they made it up for this.
Okay, last thought from me. What fucking second unit filmed the people on the planet, and why were those scenes so fucking corny?
The Corben 2 people?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were bad.
Oh, Mommy, help me. Who saved us?
I know, that was so stupid. Nobody would,
That definitely feels like Starship Troopers propaganda.
Yeah,
Like, you would cut to that child in your Join Starfleet ad.
Right? I'm doing my part.
Where did they go? Are they coming back? We need a lot of help still.
I'm surprised that someone didn't say, it must have been Starfleet!
Burnham to the rescue.
No, nobody knows who she is.
Lorca.
Well, actually, everybody knows who she is, but...
Captain Lorca. Captain. again.
Oh, but she figured out the riddle of what goes in the torture chair.
Mm-hmm.
Innocent creatures.
Ugh, dude, just really, though, so upsetting.
Mm.
Like, I remember being very upset by it the first time, and I had forgotten how upsetting it was, and watching it this time, I was, like, literally almost in tears. I was like, leave me alone.
Interesting that of all the crew's so happy when the jump works, and the only one who isn't is
Ripper.
the emotionally stunted Michael Burnham.
Yeah.
Maybe not so
Who
stunted
somehow-
after all.
Somehow has all the emotions and none of the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, though, I find that people who aren't good at peopling are good with animals.
That's true.
Honestly. Like, I mean, it's not like they're not mutually exclusive, but
No, I know what you mean, though.
but some people that don't people well have, like, more of a, I don't know, like,
I mean, I'm definitely that stereotype of, like...
playing with someone's cat at a party.
Yeah.
I was just gonna basically bring that up. Not you, but just in general. Well, I mean, like, just now, when we got here, I talked directly to a dog who was being walked by a woman for, like, 5 minutes and barely spoke to the woman at all. Because I was just like, oh, did you pretty little princess? And I was like, what's her name? Oh, cool. You know?
Yeah.
So,
It reminded her of Spock's pet Sellet.
smaller teeth.
True.
Yes,
Much smaller.
Michael would have met Ichaya.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant me with the little dog.
Oh, no,
outside.
sorry, I
You
meant
meant Michael. I was like, yeah, it reminded me of Spock's Sellet. Sure it did.
But Ripper also has smaller teeth, because they're only a few inches.
Yeah, that's the only thing. His little sucker mouth is horrifying.
Yeah,
And it's badly
It's just how
CG.
big
It's like
Tardigrades
a
are.
cat's anus.
Yes, it's exactly like a
Jesus
cat's anus.
God, full of teeth.
With teeth.
Yeah.
I love how Michael goes up to Stamets and is like, "What if the thing we're missing from your torture chair is Ripper?" No one has told Stamets that Landry named the tardigrade Ripper, so he'd probably be like,
Oh, yeah.
"What?"
Maybe she stole that from something Stamets said. Maybe he was already calling it Ripper, and Landry wanted to take credit for it.
Wow.
And that's why
just like a
Ripper was so
sociopath.
angry. Was like,
On
how
Stamets'
dare
behalf."
you claim credit for my name?
I do feel like there was a failing between the script and the special effects people in this one, though. It's like he's communicating with them. It's like...
It looks like he's eating
I
them.
thought he was eating them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like some poor bastard in CG department was like, got the scripts like, Ripper moves as though it is... What the... Fuck you. I'm just having to meet him.
You have to do a dance like a bee.
That would have been great.
Shake his bum. Does he
That's
have a
what it
bum?
does. I'm sure he's got a bum.
Well, he's got a back end at the very least.
I mean, he's already got an ass for a mouth.
Mm-hmm. Ass mouth.
I loved how the telescope was labeled telescope.
Yeah.
In case you just thought it was Giorgio's vibrator.
That...
Wow. That'd be a hell of a vibrator.
Michael, you have to take care of my most valued possession.
That would be fucking hilarious. And if it was like a big thing and there was still the telescope cut out, but inside it was just a vibrator.
Michael, I leave you my most prized possession. Also delete my browser history. Thumbs up.
You might want to clean this.
Yeah, that's I saw that too, like, telescope. And it's like, that tracks, though. There's some nerd at, like, Starfleet Executive Branch who's like, I must list everything appropriately. This is
No,
a
they got a
telescope."
label maker that day and they had to
Yeah.
use it.
Poor fucking Lieutenant Smith is sitting there and suddenly their fucking label is that says Lieutenant Smith. And he's like, Jim, for crying out fuck.
What happens if I get a promotion?
Make a new label.
Don't worry. This label maker's not going anywhere.
I don't want a label maker.
Yeah.
He labels the trash can just in time for someone to grab the fucking thing out of his hand and smash it into the trash can. Your work here is done! Now I want a label maker and I want to slap labels on people, but not their names. I'm just going to be like, asshole.
Last question I have is, what did you guys think of the opening scene in which we see how a uniform gets replicated?
Oh,
Apparently in a lightning storm.
yeah. I didn't get what was going on there.
I can't remember what my impression was the first time, because I was just like, what the fuck is this? So this time I went in knowing it's replication at the microscopic level.
Even I had entirely forgotten what it was going to be until they showed what was happening. I was like, oh, that seems dumb.
Yeah, see, it must have stuck with me, because again, I was like, oh yeah, this is the super close-up replicator scene. I mean, yeah, maybe that's what building something atom by atom would look like if you were super close in. Or it's sure.
Are they using those nanobots to do it? What are those things called?
No, they've never said, but it's always been kind of implicit that replication is strictly an energy process. There's no mechanical aspect involved.
Well, a lightning bolt is as good a way to express energy as any.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can see why they did it the way they did.
I honestly don't think I even was paying that close attention at that scene, so I don't have anything valuable to add.
Well, but also when you don't know what's going on, like you're just like, what is happening?
Yeah, the first time there's probably definitely like a...
Is this a sonic shower?
Am I watching the right episode?
I like the mirror mode. She had like the hologram.
Yeah, turn off mirror mode.
That actually I think was kind of silly. Like,
It was.
it reminds me very
That's
much...
the thing that was silly.
Because that's over-egging the pudding. Like, you know, there's that story, which I'm sure we told before, of like...
Oh, that's over-egging the pudding.
the TNG pilot.
Tossed salad and scrambled over egging the pudding.
There's from the TNG pilot, they wanted to have like this crazy archway thing that Wesley would walk through to dry himself off after
but
falling
then
in the
they
river.
handed him a towel.
And Gene Roddenberry was like, just have someone hand him a fucking towel. And I feel like at the end of the day, you just want a goddamn mirror.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though.
Mirrors can break,
the thing,
though.
Also, the thing a mirror can't do is show you your ass. So if you can rotate. If you can rotate your mirror hologram person,
Oh
there you
man,
go.
taking lewd pictures is going to be so much easier in the future.
I wonder if you could set it up so that it looked like you were eating your own ass.
Okay, I gotta
on.
say, as someone who has had to put bandages on the back of his neck, for the
Not
past
where I
few
thought we were
days,
going.
It would be. I could see that. That would be very nice to have, and also for like shaving the back of my head.
Yeah.
Oh, I
get
thought
it.
you meant for
rather.
eating your own ass. I was like, wow, Chris, that's crazy. No, but seriously, you were like, yeah, but I could see that working out. I'm like,
Yeah, sorry. I meant I had a thought and did not express all of it.
No, that's true. Any complicated hairstyle, you need to do something from the
Okay,
back.
yes, you justified the hologram over a mirror. Fuck.
Hooray!
but also, yes.
But yes, are we? Did you say move on? Or
Let's
are we-
segue, because I am done.
Oh boy.
Segue.
And also, this is going to be a complicated one, because if Discovery is, doing the serial thing, Deep Space Nine really started doing the serial thing at some point in its run. To usually a pretty good effect.
Yeah.
But it also has a ton of two-parters. It has a ton of three-parters, which is unusual.
When I was like that, but this one I made sure to go back and kind of like go through the Memory Alpha articles a little for them, and
Yeah, sometimes the titles are like, which one even is this?
even at the time I was like, oh right, this and that and that and this, and it's like, holy shit, I forgot about that. And now a few hours later, it's already blurring together
Well,
again.
what are,
It's
what
so
are the
confusing.
two-parters from Deep Space Nine?
Well, let's start off with the first one, which isn't a two-parter. There's a three-parter in Deep Space Nine. I think this is the top of season 2, where we get the Homecoming, the Circle, and the Siege.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I specifically remember about this one is I said it could have been a one-parter.
Oof.
I don't know, though. I think it gives us some pretty nice Vedic win action. We got that scumbag who's working the circle.
Jaro?
Oh,
the
Frank
circle-
Langella. Is that what it is, Jaro?
I'm gonna say Jaro.
That sounds
seems
right.
The circle jerk. We got that prick that is like the military commander that comes onto DS9.
Oh, the hero that they save who isn't really.
Well, no, there's
That's
that guy.
the Bajoran.
He's a good guy, but no, there's another guy. There's like a toady kind of guy who tries to assassinate Cisco, but ends up shooting military
Right. Hero guy.
hero guy.
Lee.
Yeah, Lee.
I'm sitting here like
Nallis.
Shakar.
Lee
I'm like,
Nallis. Yeah,
Lee
Lee
Nallis.
Nallis.
Yeah, Shakar's later.
yeah, I know. I just couldn't think of it. Shakar is like a pretty common last name at my job.
Huh.
Oh no, first name. I've seen it a few times as a first name. Sorry, and every time I'm like, Shakar.
Yeah, I don't remember how I felt about it lengthwise.
I remember you liking it.
Okay.
And I remember me realizing, like, Lee Nalas, or Nalis, I
Lee
forget.
Nallis. We always
I
say
don't
Lee
remember.
Nallis.
Every fucking time I can't remember this guy's fucking name. But Lee, the Bajoran who they save out of a prison camp, being fucking superfluous. And having
mostly
nothing to
was.
do for most of it. And the second one lagging because they did not know what to do.
Except whine because he was like, but I didn't do anything.
Well, that as a concept is certainly interesting, though. Is like this guy finds out he's been built up into this major hero, and he's like, "I'm sorry, fucking what?"
Yeah, but you're a symbol now, so get over it.
Yeah, I feel like the Lee Nallis plot could have been its own separate episode, not part of this overall circle
Jerk.
the circle plot, because it's just they don't really connect that much. Like I like the idea of a semi-legendary figure from the Bajoran Resistance coming back after a long period, and like everyone thinks they're a hero, but he turns out he's kind of not.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I don't think they did this at the time, but, like, it's sort of an interesting parallel in a way to Cisco, who's, like, this unwilling, like, symbol to the Bajoran people as well. And I don't think they ever commiserate about that, which is a missed
that would've been
opportunity.
nice.
Is this the episode where O'Brien acts like Kira's pimp?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes! This episode's great, and Kira's on Planet Closer. I mean, not really screaming sex worker, but they are fun.
Well, I feel like
Her and
that
Dax dress up as Vedics, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that is sort
That's
of...
my fantasy.
That becomes her, like, default out-of-uniform outfit, too. They bring that back a couple times.
Do
The
you
weird, like, lace vest.
Do you think that there is, like, Vedic porn on Bajor?
I mean, with those hats.
Absolutely, but I want to focus us because we do have a lot of two-part.
I didn't want to go
Alright,
into
yeah,
it. That was just a
circle. I don't know. I
question.
think
Really,
circle's great.
yeah. Like, was this worth 3 episodes?
Probably
is my
not.
question.
No,
It probably could have
not.
been 2.
I think
at least.
they could have done 2 episodes on the circle and one totally separate episode on Lean Alice.
I like that idea best. I think because I agree that he's not used to the best effect in the overall plot, which already has enough going on.
Yeah. I
But
mean, again,
it
I
is
remember...
nice that... Oh, go ahead.
I remember story-wise liking it. Again, I don't know, because I haven't seen it since we watched it, but, like, yeah, I'm willing to bet they probably could have done it in 2.
But it is nice that he goes from, like, being an unwilling, like, hero of the people to actually
Yeah.
dying a heroic death.
And he could have done that in 1 episode instead of over 3.
No, totally.
Yeah.
I'm on board. I mean, like, as we've said, there have been so few episodes that need to even be a 2-parter that I would find it impossible to believe that a 3-parter was necessary. You know, like, even not remembering, even though I've seen this 3 or 4 times and I still don't really remember that much about it, I don't think a 3-part is ever necessary.
Yeah, and I challenge them to do the Circle Siege plot in 1 episode.
Wow.
Make it a real tight, real action-packed episode.
Do 1 and 1 and leave an
1 and
extra
1.
episode for the end of the goddamn series
Yeah,
so that you're not
Yes!
just shoehorning in the Gul Dukat
see-
shit. Like, oh yeah, oop.
Then we might have lost some of those scenes between Wynn and Frank Langella just being pure evil together.
I
those.
love to hate that bitch.
Oh, she's so good at it.
She's...
Was this... I know obviously she'd been around before this, but was this kind of her first real major outing, or...
Didn't she try to... Isn't the one where she bombs the school? Isn't that before that?
Yeah.
It's like
That's
first season,
before.
isn't it?
Yeah, but that's right. Like, I kind of want... Like, is this where they really kicked her
I
in a
mean, she
gear? I
doesn't
can't
bomb
remember.
the school, to
Well,
be
no,
fair.
that's
Well,
true.
okay.
O'Brien's
but-
girlfriend bombs the school.
Yeah.
Right.
God, she's
Is this the episode where she's like, my child, if you ever
No,
speak to me
that's
like
much
that
later.
again.
I think she's Kai by that
Yeah, you're
point.
right. It is when she's Kai. Damn.
I think
Anyway,
it's once she becomes Kai, she does that.
Yeah,
As
it might
a-
be the same, yeah.
as a side note, I just realized I think Kai Wynn is fucking hot, just like for the same reason I think Gul Dukat is
Oh,
hot.
well, Louise Fletcher, like, she's also got so much presence that you
Yeah,
you can't
no,
help but notice her.
I'm just saying, I want to be a meat. I want to be a meat in the Gul Dukat Kai Wynn sandwich. Which meat?
I'll be a pickle.
Mm.
Anyway, I'm going to move us on to the next one because we have a bunch of episodes to get through. The next one is The Maquis, parts 1 and 2, which I'll say, fucking yawn.
Could we have cut 10 minutes of Les Mis out?
No,
That's
he's not here
It's
yet.
not even
Oh, it's
that.
not these Maquis.
Yeah,
No.
this is Cal Hudson.
Yeah, we never see
Oh,
again.
that's Ben's friend.
Ben's
Yeah.
old buddy,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yawn. Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot happens.
I also feel like his friend isn't a great actor.
I don't remember.
He was fine.
But yeah, this does kind of... It's interesting, though, because it does sort of It gives us this first thing of just, like, how much Ben hates people working for the... Like, you betrayed the uniform, which will come up frequently with Eddington.
Which is amazing because Cisco does all kinds of naughty shit later.
Well, and it's interesting, too, because in the episode, apparently, which, again, I forgot about until I was reading the damn article, the one thing he does mention is that he's frustrated by the fact that Starfleet, sort of expects everyone in the Federation to act like the ones that live on Earth, where, like, Earth is basically, like,
Utopia.
everything's great. It's like, the further you get, though, the less perfect it is, and, like, let's be honest, the whole situation with the Cardassian DMZ sucks, because the Federation decided to deal in good faith with bad faith actors. So, like, he kind of gets it, but at the end of the day is still so, like...
I was, like, having a conversation last night about Cisco, And because, like, it was actually what I was doing really was talking about this show and the future of this show and bemoaning the fact that I'm going to have to watch Lower Decks and I'm going to have to watch fucking Picard again.
Oh, no.
And, like, and the rest of Discovery, which primarily I know I don't love. And I was like, and then, like, and Picard was terrible. And the person I was talking with was
Prodigy will go by too fast.
Yeah, for
Damn
sure.
It.
But it was saying, like, yeah, but everyone loves Picard, but it was just a bad idea. And I was like, yeah, and I don't understand why people love Picard. He's, like, a fucking one-dimensional character. Ben Sisko...
Holy shit, shots fired.
Ben Sisko is, if not the best, quote, captain, at least the most interesting. Because he is...
Okay, that's an interesting way of putting that.
He is a single father raising a child who has just had a traumatic loss of his wife.
Mm-hmm.
He is trying dating again at some point. He is in the middle of fucking nowhere, in the middle of a weird fucking space bullshit.
He's battling being an emissary with being a Starfleet
Right, he's a fucking religious figure to a group of people in a religion he doesn't even necessarily buy into whatsoever. I mean, later, but not at first. He commits war crimes. Like... Ben Sisko is the most like a real person of any like the fact that people are like Kirk or Picard, fucking neither. Ben Sisko.
But as what? As a character? As a captain? As a actor?
As the best character in Star Trek, as the best leading character in Star Trek.
That right there is Scott Bakula erasure.
You're right. For shame.
Okay, I see where you're coming from because they did like everything on Deep Space Nine. They actually like put thought into, whereas on TNG they put thought into the what's the adventure of the week. Whilst in Deep Space Nine they're like, yes, but what's our each character's journey, which they definitely put into Sisko, and you can see some of that in the Maquis. I want to drag it back into the actual conversation.
Yeah. So the Maquis, the thing about the Maquis.
Wait, can I just say one more thing?
No.
Please.
What was it?
Just that, like, to me, it speaks volumes that Jean-Luc Picard gets boiled down to Earl Grey, hot, and shut up Wesley.
And there are 4 lights.
Yeah, but, like, still...
I can live with it, is what Ben gets boiled down
right,
to.
And that's... Anyway.
So, dragging us back.
Sorry, go ahead, do it again.
So the Maquis, as an episode...
No, write that blog article, though, Caitlin.
Oh, boy. Okay, I'll try.
So, yeah, the Maquis as an episode, to
Could have
me...
been half an episode.
Could have been half an episode. Well, because the other thing that I think...
throwaway line.
The other problem I have with the Maquis as an episode is that it's been done twice already at this point.
Preemptive Strike. Journey's End.
I don't think Preemptive Strike had happened and Journey's End had happened yet. Or had they?
I remember looking this up years ago.
But even if they,
remember.
Even if they hadn't, I feel like other than the fact that the Maquis wasn't a thing at the time, the episode covers a lot of the same ground as The Wounded and Ensign Rowe.
I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that makes sense, too, because Ensign Rowe was supposed to be Kira or vice versa, and then it didn't happen, right?
Yeah. But like the whole idea of like the shittiness of the Cardassian treaty and the fact that like the Federation has been kind of complicit in this from the start, like those are both themes in both of those episodes. You know, more so I guess in Ensign Rowe where you have a bad Admiral that's behind the whole thing, but I feel like the Wounded fits too because the Cal Hudson character and the Maxwell character are they're very similar in ways.
Yeah, they think what they're doing is right, therefore it's just.
Yeah.
It's Jellicoe is the one dealing with Cardassians, right? When we first meet Cardassians?
Not first meet.
No, the first...
Right, not first meet, but that's who he's dealing with, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's the tricky part with these, is like, having just kind of reviewed their Memory Alpha articles, it's like hard to remember what I felt about like the actual act of watching it. Because like what stands out when I'm reading it is, this does have that wonderful scene where they can't mind meld with Gul Dukat.
That is such a good scene. You can keep that scene. Yeah, I tried to listen to our episodes where we covered these two-parters.
So many episodes.
I couldn't get through all of them, but at least I did this one, and really it boiled down to fucking yawn.
Yeah, I mean, I'd believe it, because I I do not remember exactly what watching these was like.
Cal was a
Right.
blip. Like, he wasn't very interesting.
Well, plus, like, you feel like they set it up for him to, like, come back again someday, Ben, and he doesn't.
Yeah, no, they said
And-
fucking Eddington.
And at least, I was gonna say, and at least for me, the fact that you were like the Maquis, and I was like, right, Eddington, and you're like, nope, it's like,
Oh
oh!
yeah, they don't even kill Cal off.
No.
I think they wanted to
He's just
originally,
like,
but
see
they
you
didn't
next
bother.
time, Ben!
And then they never do.
Nope, that's
I
fine.
think they mention him in passing in one of Eddington's appearances.
I think you're right.
Your friend Ben said, or your friend, not
Cal.
Ben, Cal, your friend Cal says hello. Pew!
And now Les Mis.
All right, next.
Next.
One day more!
All right, I'm going to count this as a 3-parter, even though it's kind of an episode and a 2-parter, and that's the Jem'Hadar and the Search Part 1 and the Search Part 2.
Yeah,
Sure.
I don't put the Jem'Hadar with
The Jem'Hadar
Search.
sets it up.
It sets it. Yeah, but that's the thing. The whole show is kind of a continuing overall storyline.
Well, right, it's the serial arc.
Except for Meridian.
But I don't look at the Jem'Hadar as being continuous with the plot of, like, when I think of a 2-parter, I think of
Next
events.
time on.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Star
to
Trek
be
Deep Space
continued,
Nine.
and that's not really how the Jem'Hadar ends.
Well, we covered it as a 3-parter, so...
Well, I think that was just because it straddles a season.
It did, yeah.
The Jem'Hadar just show up like, we're back! And we're like,
But,
what?
but yeah, the Search 1 and 2 obviously are a 2-parter. So as far as those go, I think it's pretty good. I think
Yeah, I like the Search.
I think that having it as a 2-parter and cut where they did makes a lot of sense, because the episodes themselves kind of stand on their own. Like the Search Part 1 is the Search, right? It's, they get the Defiant, they go through the wormhole, and
To find Dominions.
they're looking for the Dominion, and then they get blowed the fuck up. They have a bad time,
TM.
and then we find the Founders, and like that's where we cut Part 1.
Yeah,
and
and we think the Founders are...
Oh yeah,
Orda.
we find the Changeling, and we find the
Right.
Changelings at the end of Part 1.
Yeah, and we think Changelings are friends.
We think Changelings are friends.
Whoopsie!
Yeah, and we don't. It's not even in Part 1 that we think that the Vorta are the Founders. We don't find that out until Part 2
Okay.
when we.
Oh, is this where we meet that Lady Vorta, where Quark and...
No, that's in
That, or that's
the
Jem'Hadar.
Jem'Hadar.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
This
that's
is-
why I'm kind of considering.
I was
This
gonna
is-
say, I,
this
can
is
kind
where-
of, I understand your point now.
But this is where where Ben and Bashir in an escape, well, not escape pod, in a runabout or shuttle or something, make it back to the station. Or they don't make it back to the station. They get picked up by Dax.
Yeah.
And
But then we learn that it's all a ruse.
well, then we get back to the station, and Admiral Nechayev of all people are there.
Right,
And
right.
she's like, "Hey Ben, welcome back. A lot's changed since you went on your mission. We're gonna make peace with the Dominion." And like that. And Part 2 is like the crew of the Defiant and Deep Space Nine trying to basically fuck up this alliance that the Federation
fuck you to
wants to do.
Nechayev. And this is the one that has a ton of fake out deaths, which I remember like being very
Yeah,
impactful.
Garrick dies.
Tarul? Who's the Romulan bitch? I want to say Tarul.
Wait, is this the one where they're actually, like, hooked up to machines?
Yeah, this is the
Yeah,
one where
that one.
it turns out to be a simulation, and it
I
like
thought that came way later.
Nope.
it's this. It's literally this like this the first. It's
Yeah.
the same episode where we meet the Changeling.
It's the Changelings Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah. And then we have the whole Changeling part where there's a mystery going on because Odo's trying to assimilate with his people, but it's not going so well.
And Kira's there talking to a tree.
And Kira's there having
Oh,
a bad
no.
time.
Are you in
And then
here?
they come together, and then like the big reveal is no, the Vorta aren't the Founders, the Changelings are the Founders, and it's like and I think it's a cool. I think both parts work on their own.
They keep
and
building. They build and build in a way that brings it to that reveal.
Yeah.
And then you feel satisfied.
I think that's a really
that you've
good
been
use of the
tricked.
two-parter. Yeah.
Is Jeffrey Combs in the search?
No.
No.
Then it is not worth 2 parts. No, I'm
Yes!
just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I was gonna say, if Jeffrey Combs is in it, he can have as many parts as he wants. But no, this is good. This is a good use of many parts.
Yeah.
And even if you consider the Jem'Hadar to be the first part, which I wouldn't, but if you wanted to lump these 3 together, I still think it works because that's a good standalone episode.
Yeah.
Next.
Maybe that's the definition of a 2-parter. It doesn't work as a good standalone episode. Like, if you just had, not that the Jem'Hadar doesn't, but if you just had Times Arrow Part 1, well, maybe that'd be fine. But if you didn't have Part 2, you wouldn't think it would be like...
But you still
what
have
the
to
fuck?
feel teased like you should keep watching. I feel like
Yeah.
there also needs to be that, I want to see part 2 now. Not okay, fuck this.
Well, so here's the interesting thing though, is that unlike a lot of the two-parters that we've previously had, the Search 1 and 2 aren't the ones that straddle the season boundary.
No.
Right.
They are the first 2 episodes of season.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Jem'Hadar is the
3 or
closer.
4.
Mm-hmm.
3.
Yeah, season 3. So you would and I think that would have even worked as a season cliffhanger, where maybe if they because the Defiant is seemingly lost at the end of part 1, and Odo meets the Changelings, and that's where we cut.
Yeah.
I think that could have worked as a
that
season
could have worked.
cliffhanger.
I appreciate they didn't, though.
Yeah, I do like an episode like the Jem'Hadar, which does a good job setting up oh man, what's going to happen in season 2, not what's going to happen in the next episode.
Yeah.
How are they going to wrap this up instead of how are they going to keep building on this?
Right.
Which is what Deep Space Nine is very good at. Now, is it as good at that in an episode like Past Tense? The one where we have to go back to the Bell Riots.
I mean, I do love that episode.
Yeah,
It's officially bad because it didn't come true.
I mean, in a
It's not technically-
way.
it's just a little off on the date.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh.
This is actually another example of why Ben Sisko is the most interesting captain, because sitting on the edge of forever, we're okay, we have to get Bones back, but we have to not fuck up the past. And then Ben Sisko goes to the past and looks like I'm Gabriel Bell now, motherfuckers.
Well, in a sense, though,
That wasn't his plan.
Yeah, he's doing that because he thinks that they already fucked up the past by getting Gabriel Bell killed
I'm just saying,
prematurely.
what other captain?
Janeway. She
True.
loves breaking
She
time.
does love breaking
Yeah.
time. Meanwhile, Julian goes off and becomes all of his old grandparents.
Oh.
Julian, no!
And Dax gets a goofy haircut.
Yeah,
Oh, I love Dax's clothes and
I
everything
do love
in this
it. The
fucking
feather
episode.
is cute.
The feather is nice.
I thought that the one thing about this, I think everything in the Sanctuary District was pretty good. I don't know that it needed to be a two-parter.
Except for that Bojo with a gun. CJ or whatever the fuck
he
his
was-
name
The
is.
Hat Man?
Yeah, but he was a scumbag.
DC.
Well, yeah, but
DC, that's it.
but-
Yeah, but he feels like a parody of a person. Most of the people in this thing, even though it's a future that we don't know, feels like they might be real people. And he feels like central
character.
casting for
scumbag.
yeah.
He's a guy RoboCop shoots in a dick.
Yeah,
He
big
should
time.
have.
Over and over again.
We also get this episode does also give us our DS9 Clint Howard appearance.
Oh, that's
Which
right.
we didn't need.
Which we didn't.
Oh
need,
yeah,
but
because isn't it just a weird? Isn't he just mentally ill and
Yep.
it's
he's
kind
mentally
of
ill, and
that's kinda gross.
and he gets their comm badge or something. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, anyway, I think this episode's great. I just think this could have been a one-parter. There's parts of it that I fucking hate. I don't love Dax's boyfriend, the billionaire guy. He just seems very one-dimensional and stupid.
Totally.
And I hate all of the joke Kira and Miles.
Oh, God,
yeah.
I forgot about those.
Oh, it's the 70s. Groovy.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, you're right. That's a little stupid.
And I just think this could have been a one-parter, honestly.
But
And
I do love Kira and Miles together.
Oh yeah, no, they're great together. Just all those cutaways. It was a fucking Family Guy thing.
Well, it's great. In the
It
middle,
was nice to have a little levity in the middle of
Yeah.
And by the
otherwise-
way, the fucking country is about to tear itself. Oh my god.
Oh my
Do we
God.
have any Kira and O'Brien
Kira, come
cutaways
back
in
for
real
us.
life? Please help the Nana Visitor.
And
Get
otherwise-
Colomini and fucking the Nana Visitor on the phone. We need help right now.
Yeah, and otherwise the rest of the crew of the ship is doing nothing for 2 episodes straight.
Yeah.
But I do think having this be a one-parter would help that BC arc, because I fucking hate that character to death. Because it feels like they started writing him in episode 1 as, this threatening killer guy. And then episode 2, he's suddenly just a joke character.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
these don't fit.
Yeah,
Right?
the
God damn it.
The problem is you made a guy who's got a hair trigger, but you can't actually let him follow through on it. So
Yeah.
you either need to kill him or incapacitate him at least. But if you don't do either of those things, he's just there, and you've got to find a reason to have him not do what he wants to do.
Yeah, and the reason he's not doing it is because he's slinging jokes the rest of the episode long.
I think the other thing about these episodes is that we get way too much of the 2 guard characters. There's that one guy who's I just want to get home to my family 45 times, and then you have the other guy who's fuck these useless pricks. And it's okay,
Yeah,
we
get
get
it.
it. It's
they spend
I will not tell lies in Harry Potter. It's we don't need to see it 20 times.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that they just spent it takes way too long to get through this episode because they spend so much time in the standoff, hanging out in the the job center or wherever the fuck they were.
Yeah, really. We didn't need a 10-minute scene of them trying to find jobs. It's like, thanks, I've been to temp agencies. I don't need this in my TV. Also, Ames, I think I just figured out what it is with, is it EC, did you say? Or
BC.
BC?
Biddle Coleridge.
What a
Biddle!
What a
Fucking
terrible
hate that
name.
guy.
To me, Biddle's transformation from episode 1 to episode 2 is Ace Ventura 1 to Ace Ventura 2. Ace Ventura 1 was a movie that was designed for adult people.
Was it?
Yes.
Wow.
There's a fucking huge sex scene.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, the fact that so many children were brought to that is...
I was brought to it.
I did.
Because it
Oh, yeah,
looks
I was.
like it's a kid's movie.
It does.
But it
It's Jim
isn't.
Carrey
It
being
was
hilarious.
an adult movie.
Ah.
And the second movie is 100% for kids. And that's what happened to BC. Biddle doesn't fuck in the second episode, that's for sure.
Ew.
Anyway.
Next, there is a little bit of a story behind the next two-parter, which is Improbable Cause and The Die Is Cast. And that's that when they wrote Improbable Cause, they couldn't write themselves out of it, so they decided to extend it.
Oh.
This is the one, Improbable Cause and The Die Is Cast is the one where Odo tortures Garrett.
Garrett tortures
my
Odo.
God.
Garrett tortures
Scratch
Odo.
that, reverse
Thank you, scratch that, reverse it.
Strike that, reverse it.
And
Yeah.
that's the one that starts with his shop getting bombed,
Yeah,
right?
his shop gets bombed. There was supposed to be a
yeah.
whole plot about that being, I think, them getting back at him for killing the guy from Profit and Lace.
No, Profit and Lace is like season 7, isn't it?
Profit and Loss. Not Profit and Lace. Profit and Loss.
Okay,
The
yeah.
other one.
Damn it, Star Trek.
With Quark's girlfriend.
Right.
Oh, good episode.
That's a good episode.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that, and there was a lot of remnants of how that plot would have ended, but they stretched it instead. But the Die Is Cast is amazing, so
Yeah.
I forgive it a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think again, this is kind of similar to The Search, where the first episode is kind of its own thing, and if I'm not mistaken, it ends with them figuring out that this was Tane behind it the whole time, right? And then
Yeah, and it's part of that whole, like, the Cardassians and the Romulans are going to do
Yeah,
this big
like-
strike,
Oh,
but the
yeah.
Romulan's actually a changeling,
Yeah,
and
that guy.
everybody
So,
fucking dies.
Part one is sort of like Odo and Garrick solving this mystery of like who's offing all of Garrick's old buddies.
Yeah.
And like that kind of stands on its own. And like you say, they kind of wrote themselves into, okay, well, what do we got now? And it's like, okay, it's going to be Tane. Tane's the one that's doing all
And
this.
I love Tane.
Tane's cleaning up old things because he's going to start a whole new Obsidian Order on his own with the Romulans and hookers.
Which, here's the
Blackjack.
thing. You know that the impetus for this idea was definitely the Romulans, because this is too fucking twisty.
I mean, the impetus of this idea, spoiler alert, was the fucking Romulan that was actually a changeling.
True.
Who was like, let's go attack the changeling homeworld, everyone.
But, admitted, like, you can see why Tane would fall for it. 'Cause
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like, needlessly convoluted plan. This man's definitely a Romulan.
Yeah, big
The
time.
changelings understand the Romulans.
Yeah, the changelings have the Romulans down for sure.
Side note, listen to A Stitch in Time.
I will.
Do it. It's so good.
It is so
It's quite good. But anywho, so yeah, and then I think that Die Is Cast, again, great episode. It's like, I mean, the one thing about it, for better or worse, is what Garrick does to Odo is kind of unforgivable.
It's awful.
And you still like Garrick.
I know.
Which is kind of...
It's just because
some
Andy
cognitive
Robinson is so
dissonance here.
charismatic.
And Odo forgives him despite it being
Yeah.
unforgivable.
Well,
I mean,
also, Odo himself is sort of a piece of shit.
I was about to say,
Fascist.
like, he gets it, you know? He's like, yeah, I did some things I'm not proud of.
Odo's like, you know what? If I had the opportunity to torture somebody with this thing, I'd totally do it.
Okay, pop quiz then, everybody.
Uh-oh.
What is everyone else on the station doing?
Oh, nothing. Like, we don't know.
Uh,
or we do.
We do, but it's boring.
It's boring. Yeah, I don't even remember what it was.
I don't even remember what it was now,
Is
but I
this-
remember saying, like, every
There's a-
time we're not watching Odo and Garrick, I'm bored.
It's probably...
Every time someone...
Is this like a Noggin Jake?
No, I think
getting
it's,
shit
I
together
think it's a
No.
Miles and Julian thing or something.
I think it's the rest of them figuring out some other plot.
Is this
thing.
when O'Brien is on a streak with his darts?
I
and
mean,
he
I
has
know-
to have shoulder surgery.
I know at the very end the Defiant shows up to save them, I think.
Maybe that's part of it.
But I don't know if it's actually related to their plot or if it's just they needed a Deus Ex Defiant.
You know, all I remember is literally watching Odo peel away into pieces and
Yeah.
being like, Garrick, holy shit, we thought you were a friend.
Yeah.
Especially the lies.
But yeah, anyway, I don't know. I like this episode. Honestly, it doesn't really matter to me what was going on with the rest of the cast.
Yeah, I genuinely don't
because
remember.
The Odo Garrick stuff was top
It was
notch.
perfect.
Yeah.
And awful.
Yeah, and instead of being like that kind of two-parter where it's all one plot, it kind of bridges into the next plot. It like segues into the thing.
I will say, and I'm sure we talked about this at the time, obviously, and I know that obviously what Garrick did is unforgivable, but he's you have to be a little bit sympathetic to his position because Anna Brentain's his dad.
We don't know that.
Don't we know it by the end?
That's not revealed until when they're in the prison together.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, fine. We don't know that. But what we do know is that Anna Brentain might be his only possible entree back into Cardassian society, where he is wanted very badly to get in. And he is telling Odo, fucking tell me anything. I don't really want to do this. And I mean, he could have stopped, but I mean, like, what would that have meant for him? Because you have to imagine that if Anna Brentain says, go fucking torture this guy until he says something, probably your only other option is death. And I'm not saying that, I'm just saying most people are not gonna say, well, I'd rather you killed me than made me do something I really don't wish to do.
Oh, yeah, faux shizzle, like
it's horrible. Like, it is for sure horrible. But one, we see him regret it as it's happening, which again, I'm not saying that means it's okay. Like, but also like his own life is probably at stake, and also like Garrick is such like a deeply like patriotic person who really loves what Cardassia stands for and really wants to get back to Cardassia. So you have to be, again, I'm not saying that it makes it okay. I'm not saying that waterboarding people to get fucking lies out of them so that you can, like, in the name of America or whatever is cool. It isn't. But he is in a unique and completely undesirable position. And I don't know that anyone in the same position could not do the same.
It's the difference between an interesting character and Landry.
Yeah.
Ha!
Cool.
I don't know.
We have to keep moving because
I know,
I
sorry.
love it. Jake asked earlier, are we doing both DS9 and Voyager today? I'm like, fucking no. Fucking no. We have a bunch more to get through. First, the first actual double-length episode, The Way of the Warrior, which I think premiered all as one episode in the first half.
Is this the one where they're going to go find Kaelus's Batleth or whatever?
No, this is the one that introduces Worf to DS9, and
he fucks over Kern.
He fucks over Kern.
Is that his brother?
In refusing Gowron.
Oh, yeah.
They strip the family of everything.
Kern's not in it, but it
leads to stuff
leads
later,
to future things for Kern.
And the Khitomer Accords break down.
And it's the start of the Klingon-Cardassian War. Yeah, I don't know. Cool.
And we meet a Martok that's probably not the real Martok.
Oh,
probably
God, I
not,
love Martok, though.
Actually, we don't know, though.
Yeah, it's a little unclear exactly what
Actually,
he's taken.
no, because if this is after Dai is cast, well, we don't know if Martok was in the prison before Tane.
Yeah, we don't.
Anyway, yeah, so it could be.
Everything with Martok is good.
Even Changeling Martok we love.
Actually, didn't Martok say he was in the prison for 2 years when they finally get there?
I don't remember.
No.
Do we assume that a year in the show is a series? A season?
Yeah, I think they're pretty consistent with
Usually it's roughly...
Okay, I just wasn't...
I mean, except like when they could, like, some of the time, like, I feel
when
like...
we go back to the 1950s, you don't think that's the...
Well, 6 and 7 might be shorter.
Yeah.
They're...
Oh, yeah, 7 definitely is. You feel like 7 takes place over the course of, like, 5 days.
Yeah, it's very quick.
An action-packed 5 days.
Anyway, I kind of nothing The Way of the Warrior, because it feels so expository.
I didn't remember it super well.
You loved it, I remember, because you love Klingon shit.
Yeah, I mean, but when I was reading it this time, so I don't remember exactly. I was like, all right, Worf shows up and this happens, and...
Yeah, I like that it gets Worf onto the show. He's a good character.
Do you think it should have been 2 episodes?
Yeah.
Or a feature episode?
I don't know. I don't think it needed to be feature length, to be honest.
It reintroduces Jadzia's love of boys! A new boy!
I think Deep Space Nine makes Worf a better character, too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it makes him a character.
That's the thing.
I don't know. I think he did pretty well for himself in
No,
TNG.
you're right.
Because he got a lot of story episodes dedicated to him.
True. I think they explored...
But weren't they almost entirely, like, I'm a Klingon, and also I'm a bad father.
Well,
pretty
I
much
feel
it.
like this explores the nuances of what that means a little more.
Yeah.
But yes, it definitely ran with what TNG established. So you're right. He did get a little more attention.
Yeah, but like the emissary reunion and
Sons of Moog.
Sons of Moog and emissary.
Paradise, whatever the fuck that
No.
episode is, where he decides to blow up
what a
Ryza.
dick.
No, that's totally in future. No,
And that's DS9.
Yeah, I'm talking about TNG.
Sorry.
Fuck.
Which one?
The one where he bangs Deanna.
Klingon Civil War, Sela.
Oh,
we
Redemption.
just talked about
Yeah,
Redemption.
Redemption.
Yeah, we just talked about it yesterday. Yeah, like so that whole arc I think is very very good for Worf.
Yeah.
And
Klingon stuff.
yeah, it's good for Worf and it's good for Klingon stuff.
I'm just so biased about DS9.
Yeah, and like in a way, this is kind of a continuation
Yeah.
of Redemption,
Yeah,
right?
it's like, Worf, you got your honor back. Worf, we're taking your honor away. Worf, you got your honor back. Worf, we're taking your honor away.
Yeah. Well, and it reintroduces the Gowron character, who we met briefly
And his 38 pieces of flair.
in Deep Space Deep Space Next Generation,
Experience beige.
and then we have and now like Gowron's going to be kind of a recurring character going forward,
Which is
neat.
awesome. Thank you to the gods.
So, yeah.
For the Gowrons.
Thank you, Kalis.
Yes, praise Kalis. Praise Takuvma.
Tokuvma.
Want to move us on? We still have so many to go. Jesus Christ. Fucking Deep Space Nine and his two-parters. Next one. I actually think this might be my favorite two-parter. At least in DS9. Homefront and Paradise Lost. This is with Admiral Layton, and we meet Joe Sisko and his alligator on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And changelings are everywhere.
This is the blood test one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
And
good
Odo
stuff.
tries to be a seagull and is bad.
And
at
like
it.
using the red whatever the fuck Alpha Squad, whatever the fuck they are to
Red
like
Squad.
blow up the
Red
satellites, right? Aren't they? Don't they go and like
They're
don't-
definitely using some trainees for
they
something.
use trainees
Yeah,
to
they-
like sabotage
yeah,
some
to-
satellites, which makes everybody.
They use the trainees sabotage the Earth's power
Right.
grid,
Oh, okay,
Great,
okay,
yeah.
right.
cause a planet-wide blackout.
To make people think that the changeling
Yeah.
threat is huge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the whole thing was a conspiracy.
right.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, these two episodes were originally planned to be the season 3 finale, season 4 premiere,
Huh.
but they ended up putting Way of the Warrior as like the season 4 double premiere
Mm,
because they're like, but we're bringing Worf back. We need to make a full thing about that because people want to see Worf. So push this back to someplace else.
I'd say it's a time where weird executive meddling actually kind of worked out.
Yeah, because I do like these episodes. I think that they do work as a two-parter. I don't know that they would work as a season.
Yeah,
straddler.
no, I don't think it. Yeah.
I think they work. I think these kind of work best as a feature length.
Yeah.
together, even though they probably didn't air that way.
Yeah, no, they aired separately. They have different titles too. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's interesting again, since we mentioned earlier, like, it's easy to be all utopic when you're on Earth, but now, even on Earth, things are getting a bit strained because a Badmiral's up to something.
Well, yeah, and this is very much DS9 showing us its cards because it's like, yeah, this is not the Starfleet you know. This is different. This is Starfleet at war, and shit's gonna get real.
Yeah, it's stuff that TNG implied,
Mm-hmm.
very heavily multiple times, I think, but that DS9 is actually showing. It's like, we've always implied that during times of war, Starfleet maybe abandons some of its morals, and now we're going to show it.
In times of war, the law falls silent.
And now we see Ben as father and son.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we really see him, like, again, it's very morally ambiguous because, like, him insisting that the blood tests are good, and it's like, but they're, I mean...
And it's proven how easily they can be faked.
Right, and, like, it's, I don't know, I just started rewatching Deep Space Nine, like, again? So, like...
Watch Voyager, though.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I'll get to it.
And
Voyager
also,
is just, here's the thing, I like Voyager. It is not as good in full as Deep Space Nine is. And Deep Space Nine, I feel like, is a show that's full of all my friends, and Voyager is full of people who, like, I kind of like, but I don't feel that close to them. Voyager are my acquaintances. Deep Space Nine are, like, my best friends. I love them.
also in the midst of
Plus
all...
no Majel.
In the midst of all this, it's not actually the changelings, but a changeling does show up as O'Brien just to fuck with Cisco, just cause.
Well, there's
Yeah.
also
Do you know how many of us are on the planet, Cisco?
I mean,
it
there's
doesn't
also-
matter. Look how much havoc we've wreaked. Rots. Sorry.
There's also a point when there's a copy of Leighton. There's a Leighton changeling, but
That's right.
But not unsurprisingly, it's not the Leighton that's actually sabotaging Starfleet.
It's just the human. It's the Admiral. So, I swear to God, it's like there's something in that extra pip that just
Two kinds of
evil chemicals.
Two kinds of admirals: badmirals and dadmirals.
Next.
Next.
Here's another good one. In Purgatory's Shadow and By Inferno's Light. This is the one where Garrick and Bashir and Worf end up in the Jem'Hadar prison, and Worf goes in the fighting ring, and Garrick goes in the wall.
Doesn't Garrick go crazy in this one? Is this the one where
we get his claustrophobia.
Oh no, that's not it then. What's the one where he's?
Potnor.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's not a two-parter.
We get a Breen, but not one that's changing everything.
They changed some things.
Yeah, no, this one I like this one a lot.
It must have been like a fucking mind blow at the time when when it was first airing, and it's like, wait, Bashir. Oh fuck!
Well, I mean, and
is this the one where we find out Bashir's a changeling?
Yeah,
it has been for like a while.
And he also like because there's this they know that the Jem'Hadar are coming. They know that war is coming, so they hatch this plot to collapse the entrance of the wormhole.
Yep.
And changeling Bashir sabotages it, so they end up fortifying the wormhole.
Yeah.
So it's I feel like this is one of those episodes where like there's two plots. There's the prison plot, and there's the
Changeling Bashir running amok.
Bashir running amok, or like the plot on Deep Space Nine. And I think they both work, and that they both work together because the fact that there's a changeling Bashir is revealed only when we get to the prison and we see that there's already a Bashir here, and it's like, whoa,
Bish there.
Yeah.
And what's funny too is in a way this does build off of an earlier two-parter because we found out Tane is alive and in this prison.
Yeah, and Martok is alive.
This is where it's revealed that Tane is Garrick's father.
Yeah.
Is this the episode where everybody like is going around with their buddies and Kira's got a blue friend?
No, that's the Advocate, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I really like this episode. I really like the prison plot. I like, the fights that Worf has to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Worf
Martok lost his eye.
Yeah, Worf is actually a badass because we see him get his ass handed to him up until this point, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, warfing is a verb for a reason. It's like they're trying to prove, like, no, we know he's always been the, like, example of, this alien's a badass because they immediately bitch Worf. But it's like, look, he can fuck people up so bad.
Oh, not the Advocate, the Adversary is the one Caitlin's thinking of.
Wait, so the episode where they go to the, Klingon Olympics and...
What?
Isn't that a Voyager episode?
No.
The one where it's not the Klingon Olympics. It's
find out that Martok's a changeling. Because they thought it was Gowron.
That was a one-parter?
That's a one-parter.
Yeah.
Oh, the one where they all dress up as Klingons?
Yeah.
And like
and Cisco's like, no, don't get in the way of the blood wine!
they
he had so much fun in that episode.
They decide the best way to disguise Worf is very slightly change his ridges.
Yeah, that's Apocalypse Rising.
Yeah, what a tight episode that was.
Yeah.
That's
in my mind,
episode.
that's a two-parter because so much shit happens. What a tight
I want to go
episode.
rewatch that shit right
That's
now.
That's a good one.
Whatever season is that, like 6? I've got a ways to go.
It's the beginning. It's the first episode of season 5.
That suggests Klingons mostly identify each other by their ridges and not their faces.
Maybe.
Oh, that's probably true.
Huh. Sorry.
Anyway, I think whatever episode we're talking about
My eyes are down here.
The
Redemption, no.
By Inferno's Light.
Yes.
Because also, like, Garrick kicks ass, Bashir kicks ass. It's an episode of everyone, like, kicking ass.
Yeah, it's good.
Plus, is this the first time we see Garrick have his claustrophobia?
I believe it is.
Because they then use that continuously, which is great.
More.
Like, imagine remembering that your show existed before this week. How nice.
Okay, I'm going to keep moving us on. Next one I want to talk about. Okay, so next, after this, there's a weirdness because season 6 starts with a 6-parter.
Yeah.
That's actually incredibly well paced for a 6-parter.
Yeah, that's saying something,
Well, this is the arc that gets them back.
Yeah, so they've lost the station at the end of season 5, and this is them retaking the station.
Yep.
Meanwhile, some people are still on the station, kind of playing both sides-ish.
But it's like a 6-part, but I feel like there's episodes that are kind of standing on their own.
Yeah, do you want the
within it.
list?
Yeah, give me the
Yeah,
list.
so here's the list. We have A Time to Stand.
That's...
When they blow up the Ketracel White facility and the
Right.
stolen Jem'Hadar ship.
Is that also the start of the resistance on Deep Space Nine?
I think that might come a little
That
later.
happens during this, but I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly when it happens.
Oh, is
It's
this...
very
There's like a
confusing.
great montage episode in there where Kira has been like working for Ducat.
Yes,
Yes.
that's
And
a little
like,
later
and
on.
like,
That is later
And like
on.
they show her like going through her routine, and then she realizes, oh my god, I'm working for Ducat.
Yeah.
This
I
is my
think that's
routine.
later.
Yikes.
So
Yeah,
the
it-
next one is Rocks and Shoals, which is the one with Kevon and Ramataclon, and I love them.
Right, which is like a
That
totally
prick.
standalone
Oh.
thing.
Totally
It's
standalone.
not part
Aside
of...
from the stuff happening on Deep Space
Yeah,
Nine.
the Deep Space Nine stuff is...
You kind of have to like know how they wound up on this planet.
The stuff happening on Terok Nor.
Thank you, Jake.
Or
Love
Empok
it.
Nor.
Terok Nor.
This is Terok. Yeah, Empok Nor is the other
Empok
one.
Nor is the other one. You're right.
But yeah, this like you would kind of have no way. How do they wind up on this planet in this Jem'Hadar ship that they've crashed? But that's not too hard to figure out.
But this isn't when Kevon dies, right? And
No.
becomes a robot.
That's the Magnificent
absolutely
Ferengi.
the Hateful Eight.
This is when he gets captured,
Ah.
so that he can be...
And he's like ready to sell the Jem'Hadar out, right? Isn't
Oh,
that
he
the whole
totally
thing?
sells them out.
Yeah, yeah.
He straight up does.
and they
Yeah.
know it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
he
bad.
tells Ben, please kill my Jem'Hadar so I don't have to.
Well, no, so they don't kill me.
Yeah, and that too.
Like, he's not going to kill them.
Next we have Sons and Daughters, which is the one where we have Alexander come on, and also Zial is around,
Yeah.
and stuff
Oh,
happens.
they really phoned
Oh,
it in
yeah,
on the
okay,
name
yeah.
of
So
that
that's...
one, huh?
Zial comes back to the station and reunites
Yeah.
with Kira. And Ducat is trying to, like...
Get in her pants.
Yeah.
Get in Kira's pants.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was like, holy
Get in
shit.
Kira.
That's got to be the one where she rejects the routine, because it's
Probably,
when she's about to accept the dress that she's like, I can't accept this fucking dress. It was given to me
Might be.
by fucking Ducat.
Yeah, because she'd like her whole
Too
thing.
bad, nice dress.
Yeah.
They had like abandoned
Routine.
DS9 because the whole thing was like they were like, look, just sign the non-aggression pact with the Dominion so they don't take you over. We'll be back, we promise. And her whole thing was like, it's like, look, just play along. We'll be back, we promise. But she feels like she's played along too much at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be in the next one, which is Behind the Lines, because I also remember like there was a Vedic that hangs themselves.
Oh, that
And then-
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
also-
in this arc
that's
too.
And when
true.
Kira sees that, she's like, "Oh Christ!"
Oh yeah,
I've
that's
been
when she's like,
complacent.
I've become, I'm a collaborator now. I gotta get out of this shit.
Yeah, so there's
You're right.
that one, and then we're finally taking the station back in what's the most two-partery of this whole six-parter: Favor the Bold and Sacrifice of Angels,
Yeah.
which culminates with Damar killing Zial, and fuck him.
And the Deus Ex wormhole.
Oh God, yes. Let's all fly into the wormhole. Okay, Cisco. He's crazy.
Avery
That
Brooks
wasn't
wrote
actually
that
in, that,
episode.
yeah, that wasn't actually in the script. Avery Brooks is just like, let's fly into the wormhole, and everyone's just like, all right, we'll roll
I
with
guess
it.
we're running with it.
He's like, go on! Go on!
Then
Go
he plays some
on! Why is Avery Brooks mental? Jesus Christ. Like, is he well? Is someone checking on
Look,
him?
you spend
Does
it-
he have children?
You spend a day with Bill Shatner and see if you don't
Yeah,
go
I
insane.
still think he was
I
just
just-
trolling Shatner.
Okay, but I just really hope Avery Brooks is okay.
Me too, I'm sure.
Because he seems not okay.
Well,
But yeah, it's a lot going on. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's pretty well paced. It's
Yeah,
a
you-
good example of
Phenom-
serialization.
Phenomenally followable.
Yeah.
yeah.
And everything ends up having impacts in the other episodes.
Yeah.
They build on everything, and everything has consequences. And
Mhm.
like, this is how you do serial storytelling, because it's clear that the writers are communicating with each other, which some series they really don't seem like they are at all.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, good series of episodes.
Yeah.
And that's a hell of a way to start a season, especially in a show that has mostly been very episodic.
Right.
I honestly still cannot believe how divisive liking this series is. It is the best.
I think it's
I think it's having its heyday now.
I also
And I
think-
think it's because people are able to binge it now.
I think
Yeah,
it's because
exactly.
people
I
are
think-
listening to our podcast.
I think it was ahead of its time.
I don't think that.
I think it was ahead of its time when it came out, and people didn't get it. And
Because if you missed an episode, then you have no idea what's going on.
like unless you were taping every week, which I'm sure people did,
But not everybody, for sure.
no, you couldn't really do this soap opera type storytelling. But I feel like when Deep Space Nine landed on Netflix, a decade or more ago. Like, that's where people started rewatching it, and we're like, oh.
Oh, when you watch everything together in a clump, it makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish I had watched this show way sooner. Think how many more times I could have watched it by now.
I have two more multi-parters to talk about.
Well, we've almost made it.
The first is the top of season 7 when Ben has taken his ball and left, and we get the episode's Image in the Sand and Shadows and Symbols, when we learn that Sarah the Prophet fucked Joe Sisko.
It's so screwed up.
It's so screwed up, and we get Ezri Dax.
Yeah.
And I think, I believe this is where also Worf is mourning Jadzia and shit happens.
Is this the one? Or no, that's later.
Where they actually go on the...
Where we have to go on a mission to get her into Tovacor. That's a later
Is it?
episode. I think that's not this one.
I don't remember now.
Like, he's mourning her, but he's just a mope right now. And
Worf's
fair
like a
enough.
mope.
Yeah, they also
No, it is this one. It's Shadows and Symbols.
Okay, shit.
Interesting.
Jesus. And they, bring in, I don't know. I don't love that they keep bringing back Benny.
Benny.
From Far Beyond the Stars?
Yeah.
Oh, Benny Russell.
Yeah, because, that episode is so good.
Far Beyond the Stars is... Oh, yeah. It's
And I feel like
you mean when they have him in in the asylum, writing his story
in
on
the prophet
walls
visions,
and
and they do that in the finale too. And it's just I don't know. I feel like it
Cheapens.
a little bit. Yeah, I hate to use that term because it's thrown around too easily these days.
Yeah,
but
there are ways that you can build on a phenomenal idea like that, and this felt tacked on.
yeah, it felt kind of lazy. A little let's bring this thing.
Well, but all of the prophet visions feel lazy
Yeah,
after
but
a certain point.
which is fine. But to make it lazy and also, hey, let's bring back this thing you loved, and it's don't.
And also, isn't
let's
this
be
one
real,
a
it's not
Power
fine.
I think this one's a Power Wraith vision.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Wait, the Power Wraiths are trying to
Fuck
prevent
with them. That's
prevent
right.
him
That's
from
right.
Yeah.
getting to the
Which
the
changes
orb.
how you thought about Far Beyond the Stars, because that was prophet
Yeah.
stuff working in
And
it.
then it also kind of there's that fan theory that was kind of planted that all of Star Trek is
dumb.
Benny Russell's writings, which is
Which
dumb.
you should ignore, because that's a bad idea.
It's a terrible idea.
Yeah, no, it's
and that's where, but I feel like this episode kind of leans into that
a little. Yeah,
I choose to think that was more of a nod to the fans and not yup, it's all Benny.
Yeah.
And the chance.
Benny and Chance.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I don't even think it's necessarily a two-parter. I think these are just stories that bleed into each other.
Yeah.
In these cases.
Yeah, because the getting her into Stovacor, getting Jadzia
that's an
into
entirely different plot.
Yeah, that's
That
why
feels-
I
I
thought
would-
it was.
that
That's
felt
why I thought it was a different episode.
I felt like it was its own episode.
Once we introduce Ezri, which we do at the very end of Shadows and Symbols, it's the Ezri show.
Right.
I have questions, though, about Jadzia going to Stovacor, because Jadzia... Well, I should have thought of this before. But, Jadzia lives on somewhat in the worm.
Well, that's Worf's whole thing, is that, that's why he hates Ezri so much, is because he's like, oh, fuck.
I just put in all this work.
We just did all this stuff to get Jadzia into Stovacor, and now you're here, and also, there's sexual tension.
That gets into metaphysical questions of whether or not if you assume the existence of a soul,
Yeah.
does the soul exist separate to the worm? Jadzia's soul is gone.
Well, you would think that would be two souls. One soul in the worm and one soul in your body.
Right, it gets into some weird shit.
So Jadzia...
Yeah.
Okay.
But we
okay,
talked
I
about this
accept
before,
this.
that, the worm is the hard drive.
Yeah.
It's not you. It's just,
But-
it's like your memory.
You're a peripheral.
But when you do your
You're a
Jean Terra, that you gets to come out and talk, and if it combines into Kurzoto, is its own person.
But is that more, for lack of a better term, running a hollow program? That person's not really back.
Tell that
It's
to
just
fucking
their memory.
Kurzoto,
Well,
though.
Spoiler.
It's so weird.
So here's a question. If Jadzia gets dumped in Stovacor, when Ezri does her... whatever the fuck... You just said it, Ames.
Jean Terra.
The Shantara, does Jadzia just not show up?
Well, the memories are still there in the worm. That's again.
This is all very complicated.
Yeah, so it's like Chat GPT can seem like you're talking to a person, but you're really just talking to
an amalgamation of everything
like
that's on
all
the
of the
internet.
all of the information,
Which is
that
why it's so
accumulated,
racist.
and it knows how to form things. It knows how to combine words into sentences that make sense. Like you could be tricked pretty easily into thinking that ChatGPT is a consciousness, but it ain't.
I have only interacted with one chatbot, and that was the one built into my text program, where I mocked it for sounding like just a pure propaganda piece for AI LLMs, and it apologized for being a propaganda piece, and then provided me with links to more propaganda.
Nice.
It's fascinating.
ChatGPT is still obviously not real, because when I asked it for like punk rock sounding like things to say about like a band, it was like, they'll make you what was it, like thrash till you crash, and I was like, nobody says this. You're awful. You're awful.
That's super punk.
What do the kids say these days? I have
Yeah.
one more.
And it is the longest one of all.
And it's the longest one because it's the 10-parter that closes out Deep Space Nine, which is almost really good serial storytelling, but I'm going to shit real hard on Extreme Measures.
Do it.
Wait,
Give it
Which
to
one's
us,
Extreme
Ames.
Measures
That's where
specifically?
we
That's
that's where
go-
we kill.
No, let Ames tell us.
That's where we kill Sloane in his mind.
Oh, right.
It's like the 10-parter just decided, everyone, let's take a break and we'll do something really bad.
Well, the thing about it is, it still works. Like
But
whether
none of the other-
whether or not it's a bad episode and like a bad concept, whatever, debatable. It is undebatably important because it's how we get the
cure
for the changeling disease.
It is, but it also, that episode is really only Miles and Julian.
Yes.
And Sloane. Memories of Sloane, and it means nothing else in the 10-parter is happening.
Is
It's
there
not that
no
good or
B
bad.
plot on Cardassia that episode? Damn.
I mean, here's my problem, and you already know what it is that I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. We got this whole episode about this character that no one gives a fiddler's fuck about to get this cure, and we shoehorned to cut in fucking Kai Wynn's final moments in
Yeah.
the 10 minutes. What the fuck, man?
Bad pacing.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. This is a fucking waste. Sloane should have got 10 minutes at the end.
Yeah, they really do. Like, I think that.
And it's like the most important
It's the
thing.
most important thing, but they do. They fumble it at the goal line, for sure.
So disappointing.
On not even just like the Ducat and Win part, but like the whole. I think we talked about this when we were talking about premieres recently, about how like DS9 really does a good job of setting up like everything at the start with the emissary and the prophets, and like those are very important throughout the series. And then when we finally get the conclusion to that storyline, it's just kind
It's
of
a whimper.
it's a wet
The
fart.
Cylons didn't have a plan.
They did not.
What's funny is when I was going through the list of the end of the season, like I'd forgotten the title. I was like, oh, the Sloane thing is in here. That's so random. The thing that blew my mind was this is when the Breen show up and
Change
change
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
I felt like they had been around for way more of season 7 than
No.
this.
Well,
I
we do-
forgot how late they showed up.
Well, we did run into one other one that one time.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I thought they showed up to change everything way earlier in, like, season 7.
We also see they're also the ones that are holding Zial prisoner.
Oh, yeah.
So
But
we
then
have
we,
seen
like-
the Breen.
Yeah,
but
like,
they
we've
don't get
seen
in
them.
the war. And
Yeah, I thought they got involved in the war way earlier.
Well, yeah, because that's the whole impetus for Damar's turn.
Yeah.
Is because the Breen join and suddenly they're the new
Favorites.
the new favorite
Yeah.
children, and Duke and Damar's is like, oh, but I want to be
Which is kind of great that it's like, it's not really a moral turnaround. It's I'm getting fucked, which feels right for his character.
Well, it's I'm getting fucked, and then I think it leads to a revelation in him that, oh, so this is what it feels like to
Yep.
be the Bajorans and
Yep.
all the shitty stuff that I've done.
Because he has that complacency moment, and he's like, and I have to kick this fucking drinking.
And then all his family dies.
And then all
Oh, that's
And then
right.
like it's when they're stealing the Jem'Hadar fighter.
Mm.
You know, they're trying to steal it, they're really trying to steal the Breen weapon is what they're trying to do. Anyway, irrelevant. Like, and he ends up killing his lieutenant
Yeah,
because
he was going to kill Kira.
he was going to kill Kieran. He's like, actually, no. Like, that's the moment, I think.
Oh, right, because he's like, we're not going to take orders from, you're not going to tell us how we're going to get our freedom back or whatever the
Yeah,
fuck,
we're not
right?
taking orders from a changeling and a Bajoran. That's fucked up. And Damar's like, actually, we are right now. so-
Actually, bitch.
Sorry.
You're right, though. Damar's turn is like somewhat ambiguously, morally,
Which,
whatever.
if he
Morally
was-
ambiguous. That's what I meant.
That's had it not been, it would have been a failing.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Because that's his thing.
Yeah,
you know?
because he's pretty much an irredeemable piece of shit.
Yeah.
Rip Zial.
And he ultimately, like...
Justice for Zial.
Yeah.
Like,
I really didn't care for Zial.
Well, but still, it's still like
Shitty to
cold-
have killed.
cold-blooded killing.
Cold-blooded
of,
murder is not cool,
yeah.
but I'm, meh.
But, like, it's interesting, because, again, I think he, like Garrick, we're fighting for our Cardassia that is not going to exist anymore.
Yeah, but interestingly, they're fighting for different Cardassias.
True.
No, they're kind of fighting for the same Cardassia.
I don't know about Garrick. I think he's fighting for a Cardassia that has Garrick. Damar's fighting for a Cardassia that doesn't have Garrick.
Well, what I should say is-
but that's the only difference,
They're
isn't it?
both
I mean, at the end
fighting
of the day.
for old fascist Cardassia.
Well, the thing is, I think there's multiple versions of
Fascist,
old fascist
yeah, it's
Cardassia
true.
because there's run by the military version and there's run by the Obsidian Order version.
True.
Garrick wants it run by the Obsidian Order. Damar wants it run by the military.
But there's no one left from the Obsidian.
Well, yeah, that's right. Like, either
Garrick
way,
will bring it back.
neither of them are getting the Cardassia they wanted.
You know what the problem is now I'm like conflating Deep Space Nine's Garrick with A Stitch in Time's Garrick, and I know they're the same Garrick, but I also know that A Stitch in Time Garrick is not canon Garrick necessarily.
Right.
So
I consider it because Andy Robinson put in so much work that you can see he then reflects into DS9 Garrick.
No, absolutely. But anyway, I don't know.
All right. Well, those are the fun. A lot of two-parters, guys.
Yeah.
Great
Multi-parters in this case.
If Discovery can do the serialized storytelling as well as Deep Space Nine does in some of these instances, then I'm feeling really good about Discovery. If they're not, then prepare to listen to me whine as much as Stamets whines.
Yeah. Well, and also I just think like when we talk about serialization in Deep Space Nine, the two-parters aren't really what I'd consider, but the 10-parter and the 6-parter are what I think are good comparisons.
Well, and anyway, all of the Dominion War, anything. Once we start seeing
It all starts to
changelings,
kind of
it all
bleed.
is the same
but
thing.
the thing about Deep Space Nine is that yes, there's an overall plot. I feel the same way about like the X-Files. There's like an overall plot happening, but there's still Monster of the Week. There's still episodes that are like, Prophet and Lace still happens in the middle of the Dominion
There's
War.
still Odo and Quark stuck in the woods.
Yeah.
It's funny, because when I was looking at this and finding the 10-parter where it started so I could kind of go through, I noticed that the one right before this, it's something you see a lot in shows that, like, maybe are more lighthearted, but then they get to the finale and shit's got to get serious. So before they do, they have an especially ridiculous episode. And the last episode before the 10-parter is the, like, fucking Holosuite heist episode. And it's like, yep, that's of course. This is the
Bada Bing.
complete
in Vix.
crazy bastard episode right before we get into the end run Breen bullshit.
It's a good episode though
It is.
too. And what I love about it is that it like flips on its head, like how in a heist movie everything happens like just so, and in this thing it's like nope, everything gets fucked up.
Well, that's normally how heist movies. That's the thing is, there's always this careful planning, and then in the good ones, at least something goes awry, and they have
I
to
feel
run
like
with it.
everything goes awry
That's
in that
true.
one.
We did have inter-armor-stinium sealant leggers between them, which is
That's the one where Bashir goes to Romulus.
Bashir tries to outwit Sloane, but Sloane's already 15 moves ahead of him.
Yeah.
Anyway, we will find out if Discovery can live up to the hype. Maybe next week. We'll see, because we'll be talking about another Discovery episode. Next week, we will be choosing to watch Choose Your Pain. I choose to watch Discovery as my pain.
I choose to make Jake watch Discovery as my pain.
Oh, Jesus.
That's right.
So yeah, that will be next week on our show, A Star to Steer Her By. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, as always, for listening to our podcast. You can do so anytime on the internet, online, soundcloud.com. Search for Star to Steer Her By. Go to sshbpodcast.com. Check out our Tumblr, Facebook, Blue Sky. We're on that now, right?
Oh, I guess
we
so.
might. We'll see.
I don't know. We might be.
Everyone and their mother has
but
joined
where
lately.
will they not find us?
They will not find us on X because we shut that shit down. So, sorry. You will find us in Apple Tunes, Google, I don't know.
Spoofy.
Alexa, can Alexa play us?
I don't know.
I know, like
We should find out. That would be interesting.
iHeartRadio, is that a thing?
I'm sure you can, because I think one day when we asked Google randomly to play our podcast, it started playing the most recent episode.
Well, there you go. So
Oh,
you
good
might
job.
be able to just ask Alexa, and if you've done it like Chris does it, you can change your Alexa to respond to the word computer and forever be annoyed while watching Star Trek.
It's great.
I remembered to turn it to mute before watching the episode this week.
Nice.
Black.
nice.
You never
Alert.
remember when you're recording the podcast.
Yeah.
Mm,
Well, we're in person today, so it don't matter.
yeah, that's true. And Google don't do that shit. Anywho, thank you again for listening. Join us next week. And until then, my name has been Jake.
And this has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
And this is always Caitlin.
Walk.
As a side note, I know you just said that Google doesn't do that, but what Google does do is every time I say hello to my dog, whose name is Boo Boo,
Oh,
it's like,
no.
how can I help you? And I'm like, don't you goddamn it!